welcome to episode 99 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Chinese news outlet Late Auto has reported that the Giga Shanghai site will be shut down and powered off from the 1st to the 4th of July to facilitate major electrical works, and it will further close for about 2 weeks from the 18th of July to facilitate Model 3 and Model Y production line expansion. Following the production upgrades, the production capacity of the plant will significantly expand, with Model 3 production increasing 33% from 900 to 1200 units per day, and Model Y production increasing 25% from 1600 to more than 2000 units per day. This increased production rate equates to 96,000 units per month and over 1.1 million units per annum. Elon Musk has confirmed in a third interview with Tesla owner Silicon Valley that the designs for the much anticipated Cybertruck have now been completely finalised and that it is due to commence production by the middle of next year, some 18 months later than was envisaged when the Cybertruck was originally unveiled in November 2019. According to private analysis undertaken by car industry analyst, Tesla's Model 3 has entered the global 10 most sold list in 2021 in 9th position with 508,000 cars sold. This compares to the world's most bought car, the Toyota RAV4, at 1,132,000 sales. Model Y, which was still ramping in production, came in at number 19 with 392,000 sales. Tesla have finally made enhanced autopilot available in the United States, approximately 1 week since becoming available in Australia. Interestingly, Tesla have maintained a 50% discount of EAP over the higher US cost of FSD, thus offering it at US $6,000. At current exchange rate, this represents a greater than $3,500 premium for US owners. This implies that the price for enhanced autopilot in Australia will increase beyond the current $5,000 once FSD Beta is released here, rather than Tesla simply increasing the differential between EAP and FSD. City of Albany documentation shows that Tesla have executed an agreement to lease land to install a 3-stall supercharger in Albany's CBD. While the precise location of this supercharger installation isn't known, it's likely to be adjacent to Tesla's destination charger at Albany's Visitor Centre at 221 York Street. Several German performance Model Y owners have reported that their deliveries have been pushed back due to there apparently being issues with drive units sourced from China and which need replacement parts. It is unknown whether this may have any influence on the eventual arrival of performance Model Ys in Australia, which at this stage continue to lack any delivery guidance, unlike many standard Model Y orders, which indicate an August to November timeframe. A New York-based Tesla owner has shared an image on Twitter confirming that the car's navigation system considers supercharging congestion when navigating to a destination. While this feature is not likely to be demonstrated on Western Australian roads anytime soon, it is certainly a welcome incremental improvement in car functionality. And that was this week's news. Certainly was. So, firstly, I might just invite anyone that's new to please say hello if you're comfortable in doing so. Or you can always say hello a bit later on.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. My name's John.
Hi, John. Loud and clear.
New Tesla owner. I picked my second-hand Tesla up from the Tesla dealership in Osborne Park on Friday. And I think I've already put something like 500 kilometers on the clock, but it's great fun.
Fantastic. What sort of car did you get?
So it was a Model 3 Performance.
Fantastic.
Good choice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good choice. Details, white, red?
It's a blue.
Blue.
Yeah, metallic blue.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. And 500 Ks in not very long time. That's a good effort. Very understandable.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, John. Carry on.
No, I was going to say Saturday morning. I think my son and myself, we were bombing up and down the freeway, just trying out all the different things because it's come with full self-drive capability, which I'm really quite impressed with. So yeah, no, it's been fun.
And 500 Ks in the Performance only took you an hour or two.
Yes.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Is there anyone else that's new? I see a couple of new faces and new names. So please say hello.
Yeah, hello. I'm Chris. I've got a Tesla Model Y on order.
Fantastic. Did you order it day one, Chris?
Yeah, day one. So yeah, I've been waiting a long time to, I guess, get a Tesla. Test drove the Model 3 last year. I'm pretty remote. I do live in Broome, so quite far away. So there's only one Tesla up here. But yeah, I did
Yes.
make the trip last year and drove the Model 3, but I'm pretty tall, so decided to wait for the Model Y.
Great
So with
choice.
great anticipation, excited to finally receive it.
So have
Yeah,
you ordered
cool.
the standard Model Y or the performance?
Yeah, just a standard.
Yep.
It'll probably in the future it'll be my wife's car. So yep, I'll drive it until I decide to get something else. But yeah, just got a standard range with the induction wheels and the hype's real. I've bought most of the accessories, so my house is full of Tesla accessories at the moment in anticipation. Got the wall connector in, etc. Putting the solar panels in, so it's pretty exciting.
Fantastic. Actually, since you're in Broome, I'll get back to you, Chris, because I've got a mission for you to undertake, a local mission.
Please do.
But we'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, congratulations. And by the
Thank you.
way, there's no better way than getting a car delivered into Perth and driving it straight up to Broome. Which,
Yeah, I might need some help and guidance in that regard. But yeah, we'll see what happens the next few months.
we've got
Just
plenty
a
of that.
just a very quick tip. Just before you take delivery, just email your delivery advisor and ask him to make sure that the car is charged to 100% when you pick it up. And
Okay.
yeah, because you don't want to pick up the car and then have to sit there for 2 hours because
Yep.
you can't do anything with it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
you could go to Karen Up and you'd be charged in a few minutes, but still.
Good tip. Thank you.
Oh, is there anyone else that's new? No. Okay, we'll let you. If anyone is new, feel free to say hello or just interrupt anytime later on. Actually, Chris, I might as well do this
Hi.
now. Oh, sorry, Michael. Welcome.
Yeah. How are you? Long time I haven't been on. I've got a question. I had some film put on the car to protect the paint. It's a red car, and the garage door scratched the front panel down low, and sort of put some marks on. Anyway, I took it back to the place where I got it done in Vic Park, and they said there's only a couple of little scratches there. It doesn't really need fixing, but and they said 660 plus GST. Does that sound fair? Because they've got to put film over that panel, replace the film.
So is that just to replace the film?
Yeah, just in that area. Yeah, between the two lights. Yeah.
I dare say, I mean, some of us, I don't know if it's half, but probably half of us, I imagine, have got film on our cars and the other half don't. And perhaps what you're going through is an example of why film can be expensive if you've got to get it changed. I mean, it's probably not that simple to get changed, or they've got to cut a new piece, and there's labour and materials involved. So
Be cheaper than getting the panel resprayed, though.
True.
Well, then I'd have to put on the protection again too.
yeah,
Michael, my understanding is that with some of the films, they have a self-healing property where if you heat it up, it, with like a hairdryer or something, but yeah, you obviously need to get that done properly. It returns back to its original. So unless the actual film tore, if it's still in one piece, if it's just sort of stretched out, then you might be able to self-heal itself.
Now, it's got marks on it. It cost me about $4,000 to get the front of the car done in the plastic and the rest of the car done in something else. And it came up quite well. I was happy, but I thought, I don't know if I can get it fixed any cheaper. So I thought 660. So I thought I'd ask you guys.
look, it's probably reasonable. I mean, if it costs you $4,000 to get the front facing panels done, and the rest would have been done in ceramic coat. Look, I guess it's just one of those things that happens. You could just put up with it for the time being, maybe, or just go and fix it now so that it looks nice again?
No,
Um,
look, I'm happy with that, what you guys said. The other question is, I've been having awful trouble with my Wi-Fi since about 2 upgrades ago. I took it into Tesla and they sort of fixed it, but yeah, has anyone else had those problems with Wi-Fi on their car?
Well, one thing I've had, which all I've noticed, is that it's a US. It's not a US built car, but it's a US oriented car, and their Wi-Fi chipsets seem to go by the American Wi-Fi standard, and I think it's channel I can't remember if it's channel 13, and in America that's used for ultra short range special communications. And sometimes, well, often people's Wi-Fi routers are set to automatic, and they'll pick whatever channel happens to be the quietest or least busy. And sometimes that can be channel 13. And if it happens to be channel 13, your car won't hear it because it's not, the chipset's not tuned for that channel or not tuned to use it. So that's a faint possibility that that might be what's going on. Look, the easiest way to check that is just to manually tell your modem to pick another channel, which you can do in the settings. Just say, rather than auto, just pick a channel that's not 13 and see how that goes for a few days. And, you know, that might fix the problem.
Okay, and the next question is about the self-drive. You know, I got that full self-drive put on. I think it cost about 10 grand or something, 10 4 or something like that. Do you reckon that'll ever come, or is it a good investment?
2 weeks.
Sorry?
Yeah,
2
it'll
weeks.
come. It'll come in about
2 weeks.
How long do you think all that'll take?
2 weeks.
Really? Yeah, that's all.
Any idea when you're going to?
Yeah. All jokes aside, it's Elon Musk back in 2016 when he announced Autopilot, the new Autopilot computer, which my Model X had just received or gotten when it was built. He said that by the end of the next year, which was 2017, that there would be a full self-driving demonstration between, I think it was Los Angeles or might have been San Francisco and New York, with the car driving entirely by itself, unassisted. And at the end of 2017, he said that would be 2018. At the end of 2018, he said that would probably be 2019 and so on. As of a few months ago, he's assured all of us that he's very confident that it'll be basically pretty much resolved by the end of this year.
Okay.
But I mean, and that won't be in Australia, but it's likely that we will get what's called FSD beta, where it's sort of like, it's a little bit like technically Autopilot is still considered a beta program. In other words, it's not completely foolproof or finalized. So by the end of this year, we may be able to participate in the full self-driving beta program. And I'm sure you've seen YouTube videos from the States showing how awesome, you know, some of that driving really is. But it definitely is coming, Michael. It's just that us sort of had Teslas for a while sort of joke that, well, you know, it's like fusion power, but it will come.
Okay, my last question is, when do I get, I'm nearly up to 12 months with you guys with the Tesla WA group. Do you guys send me an email telling me when it's due for payment?
Yes. Yeah. So there's an automatic email that gets sent out. Ken's not in the room, but I think it might be a few weeks before it actually lapses, technically lapses, just as a reminder, or not a reminder, but as a email saying that, you know, your membership's about to lapse. So you will get that automatically, Michael. So it'll just turn up in your in tray one day, whenever that is.
But even if it doesn't, Michael, you can always log into your Tokwa account online and go into the membership page and press renew and just do it manually.
Okay, that might be the way to do it.
Okay, Michael, I'm just gonna look you up, and you are active, which is good. And yeah, it wasn't actually. Yeah, it's later in August, so you're fine. So you'll get an email in the next few weeks.
Okay, and I had to redo my insurance. I was with RAC, and gee, it's gone up. It's near doubled. But I stayed with RAC because it didn't bother going else. Is that normal?
It is.
All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, RAC has. It used to be the absolute cheapest insurance by a country mile. It now seems that when people are renewing it, it may be less so.
Okay.
So, well, just out of interest, if you're comfortable saying so, who'd you end up going with?
RAC.
It's,
I just.
Also, back to RAC. Oh, okay. So you stayed with
went
RAC.
up. Yeah, I didn't know who else to go to.
one other insurance company that seems to be competitive with Tesla's is Budget Direct. For me, RAC still worked out better, but for some, the Budget Direct works out better. So, but yeah, it's gone up for a couple of reasons. One of them has been the fact that we only had 2 authorised repairers in Perth, and when all the Model 3s came, between the 2 of them, the pricing, was quite expensive, especially because they probably couldn't handle all that extra volume. So you naturally just increase pricing. But there are 2 more authorised repairers now, so there's 4. And there might be more on the way as well. But yeah.
Do you really think that had anything to do with it, Pete?
Yeah, I do. Well, I think it was RAC that actually wrote to Tesla. They were the ones that said that they need to authorise more repairers. So it was RAC themselves that were complaining about the pricing of the repairs skyrocketing. Because,
Sorry, I found with Budget Direct that their agreed value was so low and they would not increase it. I mean, for my Model 3, they were talking 49,000. I know, you've got to be joking. You can increase that. At least with RAC, I've got it up to 60-something thousand.
I couldn't get RAC to increase mine. The valuation of mine is pathetic, and I couldn't get it changed.
Yeah. Sometimes it's worthwhile literally hanging up and bringing back 10 minutes later. You get someone else.
3 times, but
yeah, right. Okay.
I got them to change mine because it was at 70,000, which would have been replacement as new. But given that at that time the market was going a little bit stupid, I got it up to 85. Had to wait 5 minutes while they got it signed off, but they did it.
Okay.
And what model have you got, Adam?
I got the 3 standard range.
Yeah, right. 85 for a standard range. That ain't bad.
Oh,
That's
So you
pretty.
self-driving?
No.
And
Oh,
PP?
wow.
That when I looked at the this was what 4 or 5 weeks ago, so just before the Y came out, is when I did it. So at that stage, to replace it and not have to wait a year, it was going to cost 85 to buy similar spec, and then put your ceramic coating on, get the tow bar put back on again, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last question, I promise. The car's just come up to be 12 months old. Pretty like any day it's 12 months old. Should I put it in for a service or anything, or get anything checked, get air filters or anything like that?
Oh, look, the one thing that you can do is check the brake fluid for contaminants, basically moisture. You can pay Tesla $30 or something to do it, or you can just get yourself a tester from Amazon for $15. It will take you 30 seconds, and and you can test it yourself. Really, apart from that and rotating the tires and maybe replacing the cabin filter in a year's time. So I think they recommend the tyres every 10 or 15,000 kilometres. I can't remember one or the other, but yeah, 10 is it? Okay. Thanks, Nigel. So yeah, apart from that, there isn't much more to do.
That brake fluid check's not recommended till 2 years.
I've had my car 2.5 years, and I have refilled the windscreen washer bottle.
That must have been arduous, Nigel.
That was very hard.
So many lids, so many flaps to open. I mean, which colour? You know, how did you know which one to do?
I just filled them all up with water.
Or one of them.
See, I went for the premium option. I actually got demineralized water, so I had to pay $5.50 for that. So that was the ultra premium version of the.
Pete,
I just use filtered water.
You should get one of those condensing dryers, and then it makes as much DI water as you like, almost.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Well,
Michael,
thanks,
yeah,
guys. I
but
appreciate it.
basically, you don't need to. Effectively, Tesla have no real scheduled mandatory service as such, so you can be pretty casual about it.
Just one thing that did come up just recently, I think it was on Ride the White Lightning, that some people with new cars have found the wheel alignment wasn't always set up correctly. So a year on the back worth just getting your wheel alignment checked just to make sure it's wearing evenly on the front tyres.
Yeah, you should probably get that done. The tire rotation at 10,000 as well. Yeah.
But just take that to a tyre centre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just when how many kilometres have you done, Michael?
I think about 5.
Oh, okay.
5,000.
Yeah. So you're driving about a third as much as the average driver. So yeah, I think you'll be right.
Well, the dogs go to the park and that's about it. And I'm too frightened to take it on a long trip because of the charges and that sort of thing. And it doesn't go that far. So
Oh,
you
look,
take
Michael,
the
the
other
good thing
car.
is,
Where would you go?
Go for it.
Oh, I'd like to go down to Albany in it, but we take the other car or down.
Oh, don't.
You're right.
That's part of the car.
Yeah.
I've got to stand.
So, Michael, you're in Perth.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we just look at PlugShare, if it works.
So Michael, have you got the PlugShare app on your phone?
Yeah, I have. I charge I'm in Maylands and I charge my car at home. I've got a charger at home and it charges it pretty well.
Yep. So, Michael, so you've got the Williams supercharger.
Yeah, that's halfway.
At Williams, and then you've only got 250 k's to get to Albany, which your car will easily do from Williams.
Where
And
do
you
I
can
charge
actually.
in Albany?
Sorry.
Where do I
Okay,
charge up in Albany?
So in Albany, if you look at, in fact, this will be in your car menu, but if you look at Tesla destination charges, there's actually, in the news we mentioned the Albany supercharger, and that'll be at the visitor centre probably.
Oh, okay.
And that visitor centre actually has a Tesla destination charger, so you can charge up there. It depends whether you're staying with friends or family in Albany. Obviously, you can just charge up at a 10 amp power point for that matter. But there's also the Country Comfort Amity Motel, and you've got various other places, the Earl Street Apartments and the Albany Harbourside.
Would the destination charger, the Telstra one, and the Tesla one,
yes.
would that charge up in the 1 hour?
No.
No. So I mean, are you going to Albany just for a day trip or overnight or a few days?
We go down there and take the dogs and then go swimming or whatever.
Where do you stay, mate?
We stay in a few places, dog-friendly places.
Yep.
So it depends what's available, really.
So how long do you stay in Albany for, roughly?
A week.
Michael?
A week.
Oh, well, look, okay. Well, then if you're staying for a week, then all you need to do is, the easiest is drop it off at the visitor centre, right, which is where the council chambers.
No, the easiest is to run an extension cord from where you're living if you're there for a week.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
easiest.
yeah, well, true too. Yeah, true.
Take your UMC as well with you.
Take your charger, plug it into an extension cord in the War 2 nights, it's fully charged, no problems.
Okay.
Just make sure that you take your charger with you when you leave home, that you don't leave it in the garage.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, so Michael, definitely take it for a drive.
That's the best part of the car, mate.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, and look, we do know that Tesla has executed the lease document for a supercharger location in Albany. You know, presumably that might come within the next 12 months. So then that'll allay all your fears. But as Richard has said, 1 or 2 nights of charging on 10 amps in a PowerPoint, and your car will basically be fully charged by the time you leave Albany without doing anything else.
Okay. And Dunsborough, is that a supercharger there?
There's one along the way. There's one in Eton. But
there's one at Eton, as Pete said.
Yeah.
And then you've actually, well, put it this way, from Eton to Dunsborough and back, you can easily make that. But there is actually a fast DC charger. I think it's now a Tritium, or no, it's still the old Circontrol, but it's still that still works. There's a charger at the foreshore in Dunsborough, and there's also one at Bustleton Jetty.
Is the Dunsborough one a
On
supercharger?
Hockeys as well.
It's not a
Dunsborough's only 50 kilowatts. You'll get about 43 to 45 off it.
So in your
Which
car,
is enough.
Michael, you
Go
get
over lunch.
you get about 300 k's of charging of range per hour. So in other words, in an hour, you'd be from almost flat to full.
Okay.
Tops.
And how many Ks would I get in my car going down there?
You've got a standard range Model 3.
Yeah.
Made in China, so it's you got the black door handles.
Yeah.
Model 3s, that's about 390 k's, 400 k's.
You get about 300 on the stretch down there.
About 300.
Yeah. So if you're left with 100%, you'll get down with about 15 to 20%, depending on how fast you're going. I did that trip back in April. I'd had mine for 2 weeks. Look at PlugShare. When you pull into Dunsborough, what I was doing was plugging in at the RAC and going off to each of the coffee places for breakfast. You have a breakfast, takes about an hour, and then you're ready to go for the day.
Perfect. And the Williams one is a fast charger, isn't it? Going down
Very
there?
fast. That's very fast. So Michael, for instance, to go to Albany, just go Williams. You can actually even top up at Kojonup. There's a 50 kilowatt charger. Again, that will give you 300 kilometers of range per hour.
Okay.
Albany, it's a bit slower. But if you're going anywhere in the southwest, from Eton, from Bunbury, or Eton, which is a supercharger, or you can go to Trendale, which is actually would charge your car slightly faster and is actually cheaper if you're paying for supercharging. You can easily charge up there, get to Dunsborough. You can do day trips. If you go down to Margaret River, again, there's a very fast supercharger at Margaret River, which is not on PlugShare, but it's on your screen. It's just
Okay.
at the Woolworths shopping centre underground, or on the ground floor, sorry. And that's a Tesla supercharger. So with that, you could range all the way around to Augusta and back, or wherever you wanted to go, basically, on fast DC charging. All of these orange points on PlugShare are fast DC chargers.
Okay. And
So
the
you
green
should
one?
definitely you should absolutely definitely take your car down to the southwest. It's a no-brainer. You should just do that as soon as you possibly can.
You won't drive your petrol car again, let me tell you.
No.
Yeah.
Appreciate the price.
All right. Thank you.
All good.
Cool. And yeah, please do. Even just do a couple of little trips, even just down to Bunbury or down to Dunsborough, and you'll see how easy it is. Or Margaret River is even actually easier, and that's an awesome weekender or whatever. And come back and report to us how good it was. And yeah, like Richard said, you're just never going to want to drive a petrol car ever again. And bear in mind that by the effectively by the end of next year, the Synergy Horizon WA Electric Highway will be complete from Perth to Kununurra and effectively Perth to Eucla and sort of everywhere in between, basically, and the southwest. So you will be able to take your car nearly everywhere.
And the other thing, Michael, you said you're an RAC member. Download the ChargeFox app, put in your member number in on one of those screens, and you get 20% off the RAC branded ChargeFox station. So just a little bit cheaper.
Okay, thanks.
And Pete, you're showing range.
Yeah, it seems like a handy table. I haven't looked closely through it yet, but gives you the relationship between temperature and speed in a standard range plus. So you can obviously see, how much of a difference it makes if you feel like you're getting anxious about getting there. First of all, your car will tell you, and it will beep and honk at you and tell you to slow down. It will even tell you the speed that you need to reduce to get to your destination without charging. But it gives you, a bit of a rule of thumb as to what you can expect. So obviously the car will have less range. It's the other way around from an ICE car. So it'll have less range on the highway and the freeway and more in the city where it's got more opportunity to regenerate some kinetic energy to recharge the battery.
Okay, thanks.
And just notice for reference, if you look at, say, the 20 degree column, at 110 Ks, you're getting 270 Ks range. If you just take 10 Ks an hour off, you're getting, basically about 14% more range. And if you take another 10, you're getting up to 348 Ks. So you're going from 110 at 270 Ks down to, say, 90, you're getting 348 Ks. So that's basically 70 Ks extra range just by dropping your speed 20 Ks an hour, where it's safe to do so.
I swear at drivers going that slow.
Yeah, and that's totally fair enough. And so if you're going to bash out the 110 Ks an hour, which is an awesome way to do it, you've got a supercharger 150 Ks away in Eton, and from between Eton and Margaret River, it's about a similar distance actually. So actually it's a bit less. So you could just bash out the speed limit and easily make it to superchargers and several fast DC chargers in between.
Just out of interest, I've got the Standard Range Plus Pro. I got the Unicorn one with the LFP, the bigger LFP battery in, and I got over 400 Ks going to Margaret River. I got to Margaret River with 150 Ks of range left.
And were you doing the speed limit, Mark?
I was doing 110.
Wow.
Exactly
awesome.
on the speed limit plus two or 3 Ks generally set out.
Yep.
It's GST.
So I think your battery is a bit smaller than that because yours is a year old. So yours is a bit smaller. So if you take it easy and you're not heavy with your throttle, you don't accelerate really quick. Then I had mine in chill mode, I think, going down there. Then I eked out 400 Ks without a problem.
Okay. Where would I find that graph you showed me?
I'll put it up on the page again, and you can take a screenshot. Alternatively, I'll put it in the chat as well, so you can see there too.
Okay.
So
it's also, Michael, this is being recorded onto YouTube, obviously. So if you look at about the 40-minute mark, you'll see it.
Okay.
But that's a guide, basically. But it just goes to show if you the temperature you should. Yeah, I don't know if that could be a little bit pessimistic on temperature. Certainly, the cold temperatures can have an effect, but your car's got the heat pump for the air conditioner, so it's much less of an issue heating the car.
there's a long range one, and there's one for performance as well. Let me see if I can find that one. There it is, performance.
Is that from a website, Pete, or is that a
Facebook?
Yeah, no,
First.
it's from the WA Slack. It just
Oh,
came
yeah,
up.
okay.
Yeah, shared it.
Cool, interesting. I wonder what the source of that actually is, because it'd be interesting to check. Cool. Oh, now, Chris, you're Chris from Broome.
Yes.
Your mission, whoops, if we look at PlugShare, this is something that sort of interested me lately,
Mm.
is if you look at Broome and you've got to select on your filters, you've got to go to restricted, which is show restricted locations. So if I have that turned off, you won't actually see anything restricted, but you show restricted, and it's alleged, actually we got it set to restricted so it's sort of somewhat hidden, but that St. Mary's School is going to get a 50 kilowatt fast DC charger. So your mission, if you like, is to go over there and ask them, is that for
Yeah,
real?
I'll find out. I bumped into the IT guy this morning from that school. He was telling me about all the new network upgrades they're getting and everything.
Yeah, cool.
Because see, we're spending a lot of money, so I'll just ask him.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'll be great news if they are, because it's a great thing. You know, it just means that people in your neck of the woods, it's just one less point of friction. If they've got you know a charger in a fast DC charger in town, it means that you can sort of arrive back home. Well, if you live there, it doesn't matter because you can just charge overnight, obviously. But if you live a little bit out of town, it can be really useful to rapidly charge during the day.
Yep.
So
I'll find out for you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And let us know. Report back. You're certainly welcome to come back anytime, every week. Actually, speaking of which, we won't be having Ask Us Anything next Wednesday because we'll be having a casual meetup, which we have every 2 months on a Wednesday, and every other intermediate 2 months it's on a Sunday. So unfortunately, we won't have an Ask Us Anything next week, but we will have one the week after, which will be our 100th episode. And since we yes, Alex, go Alex.
So party.
Yeah, party, champagne, pop.
Yeah, I did say, I think I said last episode that, you know, since we have a production budget of literally zero and production staff of no one, yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to be as spectacular. It's just going to be.
But your credit card, Harold.
Yeah, your credit card.
It could be a special credit card unveiling. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
And I think you're being a bit hard on yourself saying you're nothing. Production staff.
I shall rephrase that. Professional production staff of no one. But
hey, Harold, how about a talk around the clock party to celebrate?
Oh, hey,
all-nighter.
What?
I regret saying that as the words were coming out of my mouth. I was already regretting saying that.
Oh wow, that's going to be the 13th of June.
July,
I mean, sorry, 13th of July. Right.
Put me down from 8 till 9, okay?
That's very generous of you, Richard. That's very generous. Oh, Pete.
He's doing the big hours.
I'm not promising anything.
It's all right. It's all right. If I could, I would take it back already.
All right, it's not like it's recorded or anything.
That's right. That's right. Hang on, we need to get our subscribers up on YouTube, so please like and subscribe. And if we get 1,000 subscribers by in the next 2 weeks, we'll do it right around the clock. I might just revert to the. It'll probably just be a normal program, but you never know. We did threaten to do a talk around the clock. We might have to do that for our 200th episode, Pete. I don't know. We'll see.
We need to build up our stamina between now and then.
Exactly right. Precisely.
Where's the casual meetup next Wednesday?
It'll be at the Mighty Quinn.
Right.
I think it's Chewett Hill.
Yeah.
It's
I know
on
him,
Wanneroo
yeah.
Road, basically in Chewett Hill.
Is that new gay bar? The Mighty Quinn?
Dream on, brother. Dream
I
on.
think it's a new gay bar, actually. I'm not quite sure, but you know.
Don't think it is.
I think you're
Jared.
thinking of the old
Okay,
gay
all right,
bar,
okay.
aren't you, Jared?
I'm not going to be wearing my leathers. Isn't that close?
No,
I
it's,
just
it's
thinking,
definitely
Jared.
not. I've been there many times,
Okay.
enjoying
What's
some
it called
great food,
again?
actually. The
The Mighty
Mighty
Quinn Tavern.
Quinn.
The Mighty
Uh,
Quinn.
The
Yeah.
Mighty Quinn. I'll bring it up in 2 seconds.
And-
Wanneroo Road,
even better.
Fine.
The
Near
Mighty
the Green
Quinn.
Highway, isn't it?
So Alex, you going to be there? You coming?
Is enough parking?
Good drive from Mandurah. Oh, good for you if you want to go for a drive.
The 54-minute drive.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just a short drive. You know?
It is a short drive.
The
You can run a
Mighty
bus
Quinn,
service and
and
pick Rob up on the way.
it's basically an Irish pub. But it's got like
Irish
a beer
pub.
garden. It's got a beer garden, and you've got, you know, great
Ooh,
tupper.
lamb shanks.
Oh, lamb
shanks.
Yes, you got you got
Ooh,
lamb
nice.
shanks,
Nice. Done.
pork ribs,
Oh, pork ribs.
grilled
Jesus.
salmon.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Ooh.
Grilled or battered cod.
Right. Great spot, Harold. How
Oh,
did you find this one?
bacon and cabbage. Oh,
Ooh.
Bangers and
Oh,
mash.
favourite.
Ooh,
Mm,
man, I'm hungry.
Bacon and cabbage. I'm 100% cabbage man. I love cabbage. Yeah, right. Sorry.
and yeah,
It's
it's good. So that's where we're going next Wednesday.
right.
We
Which
got
will
a
be
time,
awesome.
Harold?
Richard-
6:30 off the top of my head. I think that's the time, but I'll be sending an email out.
Richard
tomorrow.
Chapman's going to be there. He's going. So
It's the
he's
same as
he's
every
doing his
other.
impersonation of the train
Some
driver.
of the other meetups.
Yeah, are you going to be there, Jared?
I'll be there. I'm definitely going. I couldn't miss
Okay,
it.
well, I'll be there just to quiz you off.
Oh,
I'll be
Are
okay.
you,
I'll be
back? Are you going to be back in Australia?
I'm back
Are you
in
really-
Australia now, boy.
Are you back? Oh, well done. I thought you were still in, I was about to say Egypt or somewhere, or Barcelona, or
It was
Oh,
Europe,
some-
Mediterranean.
yeah, right. Good flight home. You come back Qantas.
Yeah.
You sit next to Alan Joyce. He was flying back the other day. Might have sat next to him.
No,
or something.
actually, I met Roger Cook on the plane. Well, we met him in the Qantas Club Lounge beforehand.
Yeah.
On the plane coming home.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So was that the direct flight from Heathrow,
Yeah.
Nigel?
Yeah.
To tell us about it. What was that like?
Premium
well-
economy.
No, I was in premium economy, and do you know what? I think I'll just stop off somewhere and break it up. It's a long bloody flight.
It's
man.
a killer flight.
I love that flight. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
like 1 minute you're in Australia, next minute you're on the London Tube.
No, it's not.
It's
next
already
week,
even-
next
I'm
bloody
at home.
It's already
day.
in business class.
Stop
Yeah,
it.
it's right.
I wish business class.
Business class is all right, but not economy. Economy is like, you know, unless you've got a
Oh, man.
44-gallon drum next to you on fire, you're going to freeze out the back there.
We've been broken by that flight because now we just can't do it any other way. It's just
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
Well,
that'd be
we
nice.
just went out to New York and it was 29 hours
Whoa.
with 3 hours changeover in Doha. It was a killer.
That's the killer.
I'm not
That's
doing that again ever. I'm too old now.
I did a 33-hour one to Toronto,
Oh,
and then a week later back 32 hours, whatever it was.
that is bad. I've done
Yeah.
I've
it
done,
to Orlando a few years ago. But
I did
that's
last, just before COVID, I did Sydney to Dallas. And that was a long one. I think it was
I think I did-
17 hours.
I think I did a 60-hour bus ride from the north of Vietnam to the north of Laos, sat on a sack of rice next to some chickens.
Hello.
So compared to
Are they
that,
good looking chickens?
oh, the best. Best chickens you'll ever meet.
Oh, you had company then. She had company.
I'll tell you one thing. The worst part was filling up with fuel in an ICE vehicle in and around Europe.
Oh.
You think you're hard done by here? It was over $3.30 equivalent a litre.
Yeah.
Fun. I put in 44 litres and paid nearly 150 Australian.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's
Not fun.
crazy. I think petrol is $2.40 today.
Jeez.
It wasn't quite.
It's going to be.
It's just under.
It's going to be $3 by September, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Mark
already
my
about
words.
it's about $2.70 up here.
Hey.
Yeah, it's going to be cheap.
So Christopher, when me and my wife and little Bubs, we did a road trip from Fremantle to Broome and then back via Carragini. And as I think we were camping at Nanutara Roadhouse, and I was just leaving in the morning, and I double took as a Model 3 pulled in. So of course had to swing it back round, and it was a guy that literally picked up his car from Osborne Park and was driving it straight back to Karratha.
Oh, wow.
Name's Anand. So yeah, he's been on a couple of times, I think. Really,
Yeah,
really nice guy.
I've seen quite a few people. It's
Yeah,
always
yeah, it's cool.
yeah, it's pretty there's plenty of people. There's like that website that shows like the number of people who've gone around Australia now, and they all
A few people on this chat.
Yeah. There's quite a few who've been through here. Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
Who's anyone been around Australia?
Many times.
Harold,
Someone on this chat that's like a record.
Harold, have you done it twice now?
No, not yet. I've only done it once, and that was in 19 days. Well, I took an extra day because my second last day was at Norseman, and rather than going straight to Perth, I went down to Albany via Esperance, and then the last day went from Albany up to the Greenbushes lithium mine to get some footage of the car at the mine, which is where the lithium was mined to go into the battery pack. So then it ended up being a whole 19 days. But yeah, everyone should do it. It's awesome. It's a great adventure, and you really should do it. And Chris, you should absolutely take your car for the first time. I know it's a little bit of a baptism of fire in one sense, but we can give you all the tips, all the tricks. And in fact, now you've got a fast DC charger at Jurien Bay, courtesy of John Edwards, and you've got a fast DC charger at Geraldton, courtesy of this club, and which means you could get to Carnarvon on the first day with no sweat, and then you could go Carnarvon easily to Karratha, no sweat, and then from Karratha to Broome basically the day after. You could do a 3-day trip, or if you turn it into 4 days and make it super relaxing, and
Yeah, enjoy the time.
we can give you all the resources. We can lend you cables. We can give you all the advice, all the tips, all the tricks. In fact, I'm looking at Steve, who's done it up to Broome much more recently than me.
Yeah, last March, Chris, I drove up via Jurien Bay, Geraldton, Carnarvon, Nanutara, Karratha, and around Headland, and then of course up to Broome. And I was there for about a week, 5 days,
Yeah, cool.
and then came back. So patience is the key with the AC charging. So much better when the DC gets sorted out.
How did you go, Steve, on that last bit into Broome? Because we were on Sparks pulling into Broome there.
So I couldn't get a 100% charge in Port Hedland because of there was the walkabout was full, so I could only get a partial 32 amp 3-phase charge from them, and I trickle charged at the caravan park on the 15 amps, but I left at about 90%. So I spent too long at Pardue because I was concerned about what Sandfire was going to be like. And after spending time in Pardue, I then went to Sandfire, found it wasn't that bad, but I still spent 4 hours there, filling up to give enough to get happily into Broome on that last day, the last leg. So yeah, it was a long 600 plus kilometers.
Have you got a long range?
Yes.
Okay. So our Model S has probably got the same range as the standard range Model 3. So yeah.
Well, coming back, I made the Sandfire, which was it's about 360 from memory, and then I filled up at Sandfire, and they're very happy people now, and bypassed Pardue and went straight to Port Hedland. So you'll play and mix with what works for you.
And what you can do, Chris, is if you slow down a bit, So if you do 90 instead of 110, you'll get much more range. If you can tuck behind a grey Nomad, even better. Look, I personally, my car's driven, I don't know, 215,000 Ks, and I've hugged behind trucks. And the front of my car has paid the price. I've got lots of little stone chips, but it's an aluminium skin, so it'll never corrode. If you look at my car, if you look close, you can see lots of them. And my windscreen is pitted, but my car's done 15 years worth of average driving. So you don't have to do that. But if you do just sort of slow down a bit, you'll spend a lot less time on the side of the road charging. But certainly up to Carnarvon is really, really easy. Nanyatara is no problem, but again, you just slow down a bit. I think it's about 340, 50 Ks.
Or 380. It's a long stretch.
Yeah. Just for reference, my car was never capable of doing anything like even 400 Ks. Even when it was new. But I drove from Tennant Creek to Camberwell. Tennant Creek's in the centre of the Northern Territory, and Camberwell is far, far, far west Queensland. It's basically on the border. And that was 471 Ks in one sitting, not charging. But I had to go slowly. So you can certainly stretch if you need to, but you've got plenty of time to prepare. And look, if you did it in 4 days, it'd just be a doddle, absolute doddle.
Where you going from, Chris? From where to where?
Well, I mean, I've got a Model Y, so I got to wait to pick it up in Perth, obviously, and then drive it up to Broome.
And then drive back. Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully I got the time. It just depends when the delivery comes, right? Hopefully I got the time, but I think being able to tell people, because as you guys would know, lots of people love to tell you, oh no, that's not going to work. It's, it's like the whole, I think someone said it last week, the whole iPhone, Nokia, oh no, I'm not getting an iPhone. I think being able to tell people like, oh, I drove it from Perth. What are you on about? It's pretty cool.
Hey, Chris, when did you place your order? I know you did it on the 10th.
The day, yeah. I mean, I got at 9:38 a.m. I'd completed it. So I got an email at 9:30, which I think the WA, I don't know if it was just how the sequential queue worked, but looking online, some people placed it a little bit before us. But I literally got the email that like saying order now, and boom, just ordered it straight away.
So
on your app, do you have a time frame yet? If you look on your app now,
nothing. I've been refreshing it every day.
And you got a standard range, a standard Model Y, didn't you?
Yeah, I just got to, because this is obviously my first EV. I just got a standard range. Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says manage your order in your Tesla account, and obviously if you go into the account.
I have heard that
you're only refreshing once a day, Chris.
Oh,
because the other guys in this club are probably refreshing every 10 minutes.
Yeah, you've got to pick up your game.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pick up your game once a day.
Well, I've got to work. I've got to recoup the savings that I spent.
Yeah.
I know. I have heard that they're actually given some VINs have already gone out. So
yeah, okay,
that's
cool.
like an indication.
No, not true, Paul.
Not true?
True, Paul.
Oh,
no,
were they lying?
So yes and no. So they call it a soft match. So they're just trying to get an idea of how many they need to allocate to Australia. So those people that have got the VINs allocated, they'll be they'll have them unallocated fairly soon.
Yeah,
it's just what they call a soft match.
Yeah.
But no actual like proper VINs have been allocated. They can't be because the cars haven't been produced yet.
No, yeah.
They're making them in July.
Sort of reminds me of when I got mine and we were looking in the source code to find if we had a VIN already in there.
I'm not risking going down the bottom of the page.
Probably the best advice for you, Chris, is just when you go down and pick up your car, mate, just take a baseball bat with you, because there's going to be people trying to, take it off you and say that you can't have it. So just start swinging as soon as you get down there.
That's all right. I've got, apparently, according to my wife, I've got resting bitch face, and I'm 6'3", so I think I should be fine. But I'll take the bat.
Take the bat. Definitely take the bat with you.
Hey, Chris, just so you know, anyone that placed an order before 10:30 on
like you're talking about WA time, or
in Western Standard Time, so Perth time.
Yep.
So yeah, before 10:30 is in the first batch apparently.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I thought. Like I said, I've wanted to buy an
Mm.
EV for a long time. Couldn't get an S, obviously, just in terms of timing and where I was at life. But the 3, I was pretty keen to buy a 3, but just I was like, it's just a bit too small for me. And then obviously I just decided to be patient. So I've waited 3 years, probably the same as a lot of you, for the Y to come out. So
Yeah.
pretty excited. And I'm already like, ooh, I think I'll buy a Cybertruck next.
Yeah.
You definitely will, Chris.
Get rid of the old Ford Ranger that can go.
Yeah.
Get a Cybertruck.
It's the way.
When
That's
I
the way.
ordered mine, I was in Spain and I fell asleep and woke up at 5 a.m., which was 11 a.m. in WA. And I
You
ordered
ordered
it,
Audi.
and it came up November through to February. I'm home now, and I've checked on my account page, and it says August to November.
Oh,
I've been moved forwards.
Yes, it's
Could
the
be
time.
because of the color.
No,
The color maybe, or the
Because
states you've
the
ordered.
older people need to get used to the car first.
Yes. Yep.
So it's mainly
Yep.
built on the age because they don't have much time.
I am not going to object to that, Jared. I do
The
not
older
want
people
to
get in first, and then the younger
Nigel's-
people.
Nigel's
Nigel, I know
doctor-
what happened. What happened,
And-
Nigel, is that you placed the order in Spain and then you went to the east.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So you've gained a few hours and a few months.
But they're going to tax that back when you get back where you're back here now, so they'll be going back. So.
Nigel's doctor tells him not to buy green bananas because he might not live long enough to eat them. So your car will come a lot sooner.
oh God. So
Um,
Nigel, are you getting a standard range?
Yeah, an SR in
Yep.
blue with the white interior.
That explains it.
Nice.
Yep. All good. Nice.
That blue looks nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the
And then I might
monoframe-
do a matte
Oh.
wrap.
Actually, Pete, what are you getting? What colour are you getting, Pete?
white and white again.
Down the poverty, full poverty.
Yeah.
Hey, white's good.
I'm not saying anything, Pete. I'm being very quiet.
I was wondering the other one.
Well, I wasn't going to buy a white one because I know Harold would just keep going on about it's poverty pearl white.
Yeah, but I like.
Yeah, but Nigel, I've ordered the Poverty Pearl White on white Model Y.
There you go. And what, 2?
I'm going to give you some stick when you get it.
You're getting
No,
another colour?
I didn't buy two Poverty Pearl White ones, Jared.
No.
That'd be stupid. I bought a
That's
white
right.
one and a blue one.
And a blue one. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
See,
yeah.
I think the white and white I will argue is very practical, almost the most practical combination. But the blue with the white seats, I think, is the best looking one.
I
Just from
actually
aesthetics.
saw a white with a white interior, and it just looked ghostly.
I think actually that anyone that's driving a Model Y will be happy no matter what colour it is. I think I think the car itself will be fantastic. Doesn't matter what colour, white or black, or,
No,
I mean,
exactly.
that's it. I think
Absolutely.
happy no
And
matter what.
what we'll do, because obviously the standard range, the rear wheel drive wires will come first, hopefully in August. And then the performance will follow probably in November or whenever.
Next year.
Or next year.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
We'll do a special about the tyres because one big thing that's stressing a few of us out is the 21-inch wheels that that's the only choice you have. But I did come across, I won't go into it today because it takes a bit of work, I think I've come across a much cheaper variant of the 21-inch tyres that might be really good news. Like they're less than $200 and they've got a really hard tread wear. And yeah, that photo looks awesome, Pete. I think that was you, wasn't it, Pete?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, that looks awesome. But yeah, so there is an alternative to the super expensive wheel tyres that come with the car. So once you wear them out, which won't take long, the good news is I think you can get a pretty cheap alternative, and it's very hard wearing.
What size did you say that was for, Harold?
Same size for the performance, the 21-inch wheels.
Oh, the 21. Wow,
Yeah.
$200.
Yes, less
Low profile.
possibly. I'll just try and bring up my favourites.
I mean, that's
Maybe
cheaper.
Belarus.
18-inch Model 3 tyres.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know Jack's tyres have them, but they don't have that particular size. So there might be a little bit of work involved in trying to get that size made available or ordering it somehow. There were some online companies, Australian ones, that said they were available but out of stock. So what I'll probably do is order a set in the next couple of months and just see what happens, and wait for them and see what happens. But like I said, we'll get into that probably closer to when we think the Performance Ys are arriving, because obviously if you've got your stock tyres, you might as well wear them out first and then look at replacing them. But it might change the calculation as far as, the economics of having 21-inch wheels, because as we know, I looked at most of the prices are about $500-600 per tyre for the Pirellis and the whatever's Michelins and all those, and the Pirelli P0s, and they're all very sticky and they're all very expensive. But there was a company starting with A, and I forget what they were called, because there's a great website. Oh, it's Achilles? No, something.
Oh,
something like
They have a weakness, the
Achilles.
Achilles.
Yeah. And they are much cheaper. And like I said, oh yes, it is Achilles. It's actually, here it is. There's a website called vehicletire.com, and they have ratings. In fact, if I go back, you can pick any tire you want. So we'll pick a tire. Who knows what their tires are exactly?
Michelin Pro Sport 4.
Right. So
18-inch.
Michelin, what is it? Pro, no,
Pilot
Sport.
Or, yeah,
Which-
4.
4?
Oh, is it 4 or 4S? Oh, God. I can't
4S, okay. So they've got a
Something like
treadwear
that.
index of 300. So this is just a quick reference. This is what I was using to try and find out what are the hardest wearing tyres, because they're the ones that last the longest. So you've got a treadwear of 300. For instance, in my car, which is a Model X, I've got Yokohama. So you just go into
Harold, is that lady a tyre specialist down the bottom there? I just got rid of her. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's just stupid ads at AliExpress.
I thought
No,
she was a
that's
tyre
just his
specialist,
computer.
like,
That's just
a
his
special-
computer. Stop watching too much adult entertainment.
I've got Geolander. Anyway, basically Geolanders, and they've got a treadwear index of 500, which is awesome because it means my tyres last ages, which they have. But yeah, if you go back to Achilles, and Achilles actually do, and they are available in Australia. Achilles, it was the ATR Sport 2, and they've got a treadwear of 400, which is not bad. And I've done a bit of research, and like I said, Jacks don't sell the correct size, but they sell that brand. But there are other companies that do sell Achilles, and I know nothing about Achilles whatsoever. But I'm not going to take my car on the track. But if it's got a treadwear that's twice as good as Pirelli's, then it'll basically last twice as long, effectively, because that's what the treadwear index means.
It just means that it's a harder compound. So when
Precisely.
it comes to emergency braking or what have you, you'll slide a bit further. So
Yeah. But to be honest, I don't care, because these cars stick like the proverbial to blankets anyway. So I've never had issues with tyres, and I'm not racing it. It's not a racing car for me. But it might just sway me to stay with the 21 rims and just put cheaper tyres on it. Anyway, but we'll get to that in another episode, much closer to when we think the Performance Ys are actually arriving.
Just
Which I
out of
hope is-
interest, Harold, did you see that one from R. Simmons, the one he did the other day about the German Performance Model Y, which has got ilbrated suspension?
Yeah, versus the Shack. Yeah, I
A
saw that.
lot smoother.
Yes.
A lot better. So, because that's always been a problem with the Ys, they've been a bit on the hard side to stop the roll.
Yeah, so obviously we're all hoping that the Ys that we get are a bit smoother than they have been from Shanghai. And Tesla do continually improve and change parts. So hopefully they'll retune the suspension so it's a little bit softer. Because according to many people, it's quite hard.
Speaks for yourself. If anything, yeah, I'd want it harder.
If you're going around the track, definitely. But a Y isn't really a track vehicle, is it?
No, but
It's to bring the drinks to the Model 3.
You just
To
feel a
transport
lot.
the drinks.
I just think you feel a lot safer with a stiffer suspension.
That's what she said.
But you can
I was
actually
just waiting for that.
But Pete, you can get this
try.
from Unplugged Performance, which are luxury coilover suspension kits, and you can either go for luxury spec or sport spec.
Yeah.
And that's only $2,500 US. And you can actually tune it. You can make it go harder or softer. So it's actually adjustable.
There's been rumours that somewhere in the software for the Model Ys, there is actually an airbag, possibly, as well. That's when they go to the full castings, front, rear, and the structural battery.
So air suspension is something that everyone's wanted for the 3 and Y.
Yeah.
It'll never happen for the 3 because the 3 is really the budget car.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be lovely for the Y. But look, our Ys aren't going to get it. And
No, not this soon. No, definitely not.
But you're right. There is code in the in the MCU that indicates or implies that there's a provision in software for air suspension.
Yeah.
That he only uncovered that like months ago, didn't he?
Oh, yes. Many months, yeah.
There hasn't been anything more on it since, so it might just be. What's that?
I think that's something down the line. That I think that's probably once they've got the structural battery sorted, they've got all the other stuff sorted, and they want to upgrade it a little bit to make it keep up with everybody else. Then they'll drop the air suspension in because it's a cost. It's going to be more expensive.
Exactly, and it's not just the cost; it's the additional complexity. So while they've still got more more orders than they can possibly fill, why would you? Why add complexity and the extra cost? So yeah.
That's what Elon's always said. He's always wants to keep the complexity down to the minimum and the cost down to the minimum in all fairness. They want to make as much profit as they can to actually plough it back into building these factories. Got a lot to do.
Or Cybertrucks.
It wasn't it funny that Herbert Diess.
Oh, that was funny. That was really funny. That's morale building.
Well, he claimed that because Tesla are doing simultaneous ramps, that's going to cause them to be weaker. And it's like, you don't understand that with simultaneous ramping, they're going to simultaneously grow a lot faster than you could ever imagine.
It might slow them down a little bit for a few months or maybe 6 months. But once that 6 months have gone, it's going to go exponential.
Yeah, well, oh yeah. And in fact, we must proceed this bit with...
The following segment is general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
I shares.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, look, like you're implying, Mark, sales aren't the only thing. Car production isn't the only thing that's going to go exponential. Yeah. Tesla's accumulation of an embarrassment of cash is just going to be ridiculous. And that is not advice. That's just, I wouldn't say it's fact because by definition it's in the future. So you can't say it's fact, but it's so close to, all the knockers have said that Tesla were going to go broke, which they almost did. But now they're so far out in front. It's just not funny.
They're going to be Wayland Industries, man.
Excuse me, Herbert
The
Diess,
company.
they're going to catch Tesla VW by 2024.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is catch up to where Tesla is now in 2025. I think that was the underlying statement there.
Yeah. So
he said that poor old Elon is going to be so stressed and unable to keep up with the workload, trying to get 2 new factories on the go, that they'll be able to overtake them.
The
It's
problem is,
hilarious.
don't
They
get
sort of think that
anything
he
wrapped up,
does it.
they're too busy laughing.
Yeah.
But,
It's so
you know,
funny because
Liontown,
One thing
it
that
might-
has
Go on.
surprised me though is just the number of shutdowns that Shanghai seems to have coming up, considering it's only just come out of a forced shutdown. So I don't know, that's
Doing
the
a
only
ramp up, aren't they?
No, they're
closing
they're
in 2 weeks for
upgrading
the
the-
ramp up. Yeah.
They're doing
Okay.
retooling.
they're
Yeah, so-
retooling, so
so
then they'll
Richard-
be able to produce a lot
But I
more.
would have
So-
thought that they would have probably tied that into when they were forced to basically
No,
shut
no,
down.
they- they
Or-
They couldn't.
They couldn't, Richard. So that was actually planned to be done in starting in April, but at the end of March when they had to shut down because of COVID, that had to be delayed off because obviously you need external construction workers to and other things and supplies and all that sort of stuff to do all that. I mean, the great news is, and the way I read it in the news, the problem is there's several conflicting reports, but the thing I knew for sure was that from the 1st of July to the 4th of July, the entire site goes black. It's switched off. So that clearly implies that there's extensive electrical works, which whether that's replacing a substation, changing a substation, putting in a new one, an extra one, whatever, or major structural works that required the whole thing to be turned off. That's for 4 solid days of zero production. Then they go into augmenting the model or adding another Model Y line or improving it.
Oh, wow.
And then later on, they're also then going to bring out extensions to the Model 3 line.
On the 18th of July, I think.
Yeah. So the great news is, and this is where perhaps the August delivery timeframe might be a little bit optimistic. It might really dribble in towards, for WA at least, into September for the first batch of Model Ys, because obviously, literally, any Model Ys or any Australian cars are produced in the first few days. In fact, it only takes a couple of days of production at Shanghai to produce them, and they do that at the very start of the quarter, so they've got time to hop on a ship and get out to here, basically. But the great news is, at the end of this let's call it not refurbishment, expansion, Giga Shanghai will be able to produce more cars per year than all of Tesla did last calendar year. So it'll go, I don't exactly sure what it is at the moment, but it'll go to 1.1 million cars per annum at the end of, let's call it August. It'll be able to produce 1.1 million cars by itself. And that's
27,000.
Yeah, per day.
week.
Per week, sorry. Yeah, per week.
Per week. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's 1.1 million cars, which is all of Tesla's last year's production in excess of, that it will be able to produce as a daily rate by, let's call it, the end of August.
Okay, I hadn't quite realised how big the production was going to be after those shutdowns.
And Tesla has always understated it, because even at their last quarterly results, they keep stating that Shanghai's production ability is 450,000. And it hasn't been that for like a year. They've just been sort of quietly just ignoring it and just letting it slide under the radar, really. It's strange, but they've been really modest about it, which is why. Go on.
No, I was just sort of saying, and that's not even counting the extra factory that they're building there as well, which is 450 by itself.
Yes.
So
and that's not
Shanghai will be a 1.5 million.
And it'll eventually get to 2 million. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in relation to what Richard was saying about they thought they would have done that while that COVID was on, one of the big problems they couldn't even ship new battery tooling to Texas from Shanghai.
Yeah, right.
So they couldn't move anything. So there's no chance of actually doing anything like upgrade.
Yes, if I really properly thought about it, it would be obvious.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that tooling, Mark, that you're referring to, I think that had to do with Texas going to the 2170 format,
which instead of the 480 or 460s, whatever they are.
4680s, yeah, and they've actually done that successfully because Tesla are offering many cars out of Texas with the 2170s. They were long range Model Ys with 2170s. So clearly they've managed to air freight that tooling.
But it was tied up for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep. So it's actually a great thing that this downtime has actually been fully pre-scheduled. It's just that it's actually had to be delayed because of the COVID situation.
Yeah, right.
What's the price at the moment?
You mean Tesla share price?
Yeah.
They haven't opened yet. It'll be on the
$6.90.
Yes.
Pre-open.
Gone down again.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think so. 636. I did well.
Yeah, I'm still looking for it. Go on, Pete.
Oh, no, I was just going to, on a different subject, I was just going to ask if anyone's got any theories as to why Elon's gone missing in action over the last week.
They
Oh,
say
you mean
imagine
with the Twitter stuff?
it's only on Twitter.
Yeah.
Done a few.
He's probably got a little lady on the side or somewhere in some island.
It was his birthday yesterday too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got two little ladies on the
Cancerian
side.
like me.
You know.
So
Maybe he's got three little ladies. I mean, you know,
there was
his
a talk
island
that
somewhere.
he's gone quiet because of developments to do with Twitter, perhaps. Could that be it? That it's
I'd say,
sensitive?
I guess.
yeah, it'll be the pointy end of the deal and all that sort of stuff. And you know, if he says something, then he'll, you know, the arseholes will go for him. So say nothing.
On board the SpaceX criticism as
Same.
well.
Maybe he's gone up with some ladies with SpaceX in the rocket. Like he's got like some, you know, little
Elon was one of those bots that
Ukraine ladies in there.
So here's a change of subject. I got an email today.
Yep.
I'll read it quickly. My name is Cal.
I love when old people get emails. It's great. It's like
I can even open them. It's awesome, Jared. My name is Cal. I'm service advisor.
Parents go to schools and talk about.
Sorry, hang on, Jared. Just let the man speak the email.
Otherwise, we'll be here all night.
Yeah,
My
no
name is
shit.
Hal. I'm service advisor for Tesla Service Perth. I'm reaching out to you regarding a non-safeties related warranty campaign SB 2017-002, which is still outstanding for your Model 3. The campaign involves inspecting some wiring at the front of the vehicle and can be performed at the service centre or by our mobile service technician. The home address we have had on file, it has you within our mobile servicing zone, Please book an appointment. So I did that. I booked one. I'll go in tomorrow because I only live a couple of k's away. So I'll take it in. Two questions. Number one is, how do you book a mobile service on your app? Because I couldn't figure out how to do that. And the second one is, has anyone else seen this? Pete, you've got a same era car as me. Have you got that one?
Yeah, I've got.
Haven't got any recalls.
I actually had a service call booked for my house for something else, and they phoned up and said, "Oh, we can't do that, but we've got the service calls to check the wiring. We'll come and do that." So they came out and they just ripped the front bonnet, the front out, inspected the wiring, squirted some goo in, put it all back, and left.
Do you know what it was about?
There's a potential water leak that can get into the wiring harness, tracks down through the wires and gets in and can corrode a bit. But
Well, they're gonna love my cars. There's not many standing wires left at the front of my car.
Have to be fine with the manual.
I look at your car and go, what the?
So in answer to your first question, Richard, the way you book a mobile service is you just book a service, but just in the comments say that you'd like it as a mobile one, please, and then they will alter the date to slot you in as a mobile service.
Yeah, I didn't see a box to tick, so cool.
Well, when you go, what your issue is.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I did that. Yeah, it's fine.
And then they will ring you. Hal or Adam will ring you and say, "Hey, yeah, we can do it as Ben can do it as a mobile service thing and change the date to one that's suitable to you."
No worries.
I actually had Adam ring me up just out of the blue, telling me that I needed my boot struts looked at, because there's also a recall on the 2021 ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a recall active for that. And when I asked Ben when he was here, he said, we don't know anything about that yet. We've been given nothing from Tesla.
Hi, it's Mike here. I got compensation in my back tail.
Can anyone understand what Michael's saying? Because
sorry, Michael, you just.
He's got to move the mic.
You might have
Yeah,
Okay, can you hear me now?
No.
It's a little bit still. It's a bit muffled, Michael. You might want to move a bit further back from the mic or something, perhaps.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, that's better.
I had condensation in the back right hand tail
Tail
light.
light? Yeah, that's a feature.
Yeah, and they said it was quite common, so they're coming out as a mobile thing to fix it, but I've got to wait a month for the part.
Yeah.
Has anyone else had that?
Yes,
I've
mine
had
was
it.
done.
Okay.
They swapped. They put a new tail light in straight away.
Okay. Okay, so you've had yours fixed.
And it's all good. Yep.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
I had a call with James today because after the last update, my car wouldn't show navigation. It was on valet, and I had no idea what to do. So I rang him, and he talked me through it. But we had to turn the screen off, turn it back on, and then go into the settings where the driver picks are to somehow it got changed to another, well, I don't know, another driver, but there wasn't another driver. So we got it back eventually, but it wouldn't my
Profile wouldn't read your
profile
profile.
wouldn't come up. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Speaking of software updates, or at least updates, for those that are interested, the Starlink map is updated yet again. So the coverage is incrementally getting better. It's getting more of Queensland, which is a
Why
good
is
thing.
it always the East gets shit before us?
Because they're bigger.
Because WA stands for wait a while.
Yeah, wait a while, Paul. Wait a while.
I don't want to wait anymore.
You go east.
The rest of it's still starting in Q1 next year.
Oh, okay.
But notice in this map, if we look at places where we know you can't get Starlink, let's call it the very top part of Greenland, which is near the Arctic, or near the North Pole actually. It's starting in 2023. So what that means is they're looking at the polar satellites that got laser communication, satellite to satellite communication. So you'll notice that like you can't get any Starlink in Norway or Sweden because they're just too far north of the normal orbits. But yeah, so it's incrementally for someone in the room that cares, Pete. It's incrementally getting better.
No, it's cool.
So there you go.
Oh, it's good.
Now, from something that's sublime, I'm going to go to something that's ridiculous, and I'm going to probably do what my mother would always say, which is, if you've got nothing nice to say about someone, don't say anything. This is a video. Don't know how many people have seen this, and it sort of is self-explanatory. It goes like this.
Oh, jeez.
Only gets better from here.
Oh, jeez.
Helping you get your Woolies worth? That's today's fresh food people. Products and prices may not be available in all stores or
That's why the insurance has gone up.
Yeah, probably. And then in the end, they actually pull over. So we'll just do that again, just to show how stupid this really was. And to be honest, it's both parties because this guy is right up this guy's jacksie.
Yeah, he's
there's just
idiot.
no doubt. Right up.
We're talking billions of items on sale. Visit
performs a brake check,
End of financial year sales
which is illegal,
today. At Woolworths, we've got a price break.
and no indicator.
Everyday essentials, so you can expect the same low price
Might be a Perth
each
driver.
time you shop. Helping you get your
Oh, it
money's
must
worth.
be because that's Guildford Road. That's on
It's definitely
Tonkin
a Perth
Highway.
driver.
Tonkin Highway.
It's Tonkin
That's-
Highway. There's
yes.
a Guildford Road.
Tonkin Highway.
It's
Yeah.
Tonkin Highway, and that's
That
going over the
80
bridge at Guildford Road. It's an 80
Yeah.
zone, and it's
Yeah.
a construction zone. And the best thing you
A
can say
bomb.
is both drivers ought to just get the book thrown at them.
Mm.
I don't think we should be that harsh on Richard Cooper. I think, if he wants to, forget his classes, that's his own fault. He paid the price. So,
I've had many sins in my life, but tailgating is not one of them. It's the most stupid thing. to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people call it tailgating, some people call it
Stupidity.
One thing you'll find after that is he's got to wait 6 months for any parts to get his car fixed.
Hope so.
Which is what I'm waiting
Yeah.
for at the moment. 6 months for or 3 or 4 months so far for a rear bumper.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be the reason I think why a lot of the premiums are going up, because if you've got a hire car on your policy, I could have been hiring a car through RAC for the last 3 or 4 months.
Mm.
And there's so many cars at the wreckers or the repairers at the moment, Tesla's waiting to be repaired. There's no spare parts available. Everyone's got hire cars. The premiums are sure to go up.
So, Paul, you said a rear bumper. That's a rear bumper, mate.
Yeah, minimum, probably waiting 3 to 5 months at least for his bumper. So, yeah, it'd be nice if some of the ramp up in production would be going to spare parts instead of new cars.
Oh, there's not much money in
No,
spare
we want
parts.
new cars. No, forget the parts. We want new cars. Come on.
Yeah. It's all about the new cars.
After we get our Model Ys, then yeah, go for it.
Actually,
If there's windscreens and everything, you don't want to crack your windscreen because you wait 3 or 4 months
insurance
for a
company, how are they
windscreen.
going for you?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, sorry, guys. I'm just trying to, on a lighter
Is that
note.
you? Is that you?
Holy
Oh, that's
shit.
bloody Pete.
Dude is holding up traffic, towing a
Scott
boat.
Morrison
Is that Nigel?
said that he won't tow your boat. Well, that's technically an EV,
He's
isn't
trying
it?
to get over.
That's gold.
What in the fucking world is this? Holy shit. Dude is holding up traffic, towing a boat.
A wheelchair.
What's
He's trying to get over.
Only in America, eh?
God bless them.
Bless that country.
At least it's an EV.
Yeah.
Actually, that was in the full version. This is
What
the full
in
version.
the fucking world?
It's not going to tow your trailer. It's not going to tow your boat.
What in the fucking world is this?
Where
Holy
the
shit.
fuck is Scott Morrison right now?
Dude is holding up traffic, towing a boat.
What a legend.
He's trying to get over.
How many caddies do you think you'll get towing that?
It's not going to tow your boat. It's not going to tow your trailer. It's not going to tow your boat.
What in
All
the
right, but there we go.
That's enough.
What up?
Well, since we're doing parodies and stuff, I've
think
got
we're setting up
this,
last week, something.
which I'll try and all right, here we go.
I've got a question for Carmen.
on this thing. Check this out. Hey Tesla, open butthole.
Yeah, they took that
Pretty
away.
cool, huh? Check this out. Got whoopee cushion mode. Fart on demand. Just wait for him to come in. Watch this. Watch this. What's up, Brad? How you doing?
Oh, good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you? Dude, what was that? Did you just do that in my car? '80s. Did you know I can customize my horn sound? How does that never work on them? I don't know. It probably didn't hear it.
You need to find the right one, buddy.
Okay.
You'll get there. No, the right girl.
Oh, I think about horn sound.
No.
Anybody else hate it when you go to pull out your credit card and it's actually the key to your car? Hi, Brad. Hop in. It's unlocked. Just get it. Just open the door. Just open. What, you think I'm just supposed to know what this is? Yeah. Look, look, it goes away. It's very intuitive technology. And it rolls down the window. Read the articles I sent you from Elon. He's a genius. Oh, okay, now it's doing it. Oh, that's really cool. It takes a while sometimes. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it must save you like 4 or 5 steps. And let's get out of the way, just in case it doesn't stop. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. You sure you don't mind I drive your car, dude? Okay, here I go. Let's see what, oh my gosh, buttons? I forgot about, these are adorable. Probably one of the coolest features on the car. Oh, okay. The screen just went black, so I have no idea how fast I'm going and I can't control anything in the car. So do you feel safe?
There you go.
Canadian America, typical Americans.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Harold, quick question. Mundane matter. PlugShare shows Kaiguna has not been done, but you delivered the replacement.
Oh, hang on a second, hang on. As Harold's attorney, my client will make no comment of any electrical work that he did. He was just there in spirit, not in any other performance matter.
Steve, Kaiguna is done because if you look at we've had Bill and someone called DH. So yeah, it's working. So that's all good. So Kaiguna's completely done.
I'm planning my trip.
That's a different matter. It's the Kaiguna.
So yeah, so Kaiguna absolutely works. So that's I tested it on the 17th, and then on the 22nd, sorry, Kona went through, and then on the 28th, an Ionic, and it's working perfectly. So, yeah, and that's the unit. That's actually that unit there is the one that's there now, and that one is back at John's workshop. So yeah, it's working perfectly, Steve. So yeah.
Then what I got today, when early this afternoon, when I'm trying to plan to drive next time across to the east, is this picture. Where's it gone?
The Polestar charger.
Which picture, Steve?
Yep. So there's Kaiguna, and I'm sure my filters. Let's get rid of that.
All right, go where your menu thing is on the left hand side. The plugs. Go plugs.
Yep.
Go up. Up.
Tesla CCS.
Oh, hang on.
Now it's not restricted, but I'll pop that on as well because that was good advice you gave.
It's not restricted. Maybe go down, scroll down, Steve.
Yep.
And look at networks or something. Have you got something that you're filtering to networks?
I wasn't. That's my filters.
In use, restricted,
networks. 10 of 10, so it's not restricting on networks. So that's what I was confused this afternoon, and I'm doing it right now, and it's showing nothing for Kaiguna. I've got Cockabiddy and others, but not.
No, actually, you're not even showing Cockabiddy correctly either, because that's actually. Oh no, you are showing Cockabiddy correctly.
Yep. So Majura Oasis Pass and Balladonia, but not the Kaiguna one. That's why I've made a note to raise it with you today, but I'm confused.
So am I.
I had that problem on mine. I don't know how I overcame it. Mine works again now, but mine wouldn't show it either for a while.
Okay, I'll just do a refresh just on the vague chance.
Mm.
There we go. And yep.
Yep, there you go. So, and it's now got a rating of 10 again, which is great. So, because like I said, we've had 2 people go through since I did it. So, yeah, it works perfectly, Steve. So plan away. It basically means from Norseman to Euclid, you're going to have an awesome trip.
Yes, that's the plan. Yeah, we're heading over to Brisbane again in a month and a half.
Yeah, fantastic. And look, the great thing is, yes, it's a grind once you get to, well, let's just take off AC because we know what that's like. If we just go DC, yeah, it's a grind until you get to, well, basically Clare. But if you're going to New South Wales, sorry, to Brisbane, you'd be going through Broken Hill, wouldn't you?
No, we'll be going via the Newell. which is fine because you got fast chargers as we get, because we're going down to Berry for a little while in South Australia. And so we'll go via Mildura, head up via Dubbo.
That's along this way, isn't it?
Yeah.
This.
Yes.
Yep. And then you'll go. Dubbo, right? Yeah, got you.
Yep.
And then you go up the Hume.
Yes, it's a supercharger in Dubbo, so that makes it easy.
Yes, there is. Yeah, yeah. It's awesome. It's literally awesome.
Yes, we're looking forward to that part of it.
So why don't you turn it into a lap, Steve?
Well, I'm saving that for the Cyber Ute.
Oh, but then
I can't call it a truck. It's not a truck. It's a Ute. So I'm calling it Cyber Ute.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm flying across to Fiji for a bit of a holiday in September. So we're driving across to Brisbane. Then we're going to come down through New South Wales, catch up with people in Sydney, family in Canberra, then south about. Consider we go to Tasmania or not. We'll work it out as we go, and then come back and save the lap for when we get Cyber Utes, and possibly an electric caravan, all electric, no gas.
Yes, and you know that they're bringing out. I think they've already brought out caravans with in-wheel hubs and a battery,
Yes.
so that it actually helps along. So it doesn't represent a drag on the actual towing vehicle.
Yeah, it extends the range on that compared to without, and also it can regen brake.
Mm.
Oh, what I'm looking forward to with that is having the app, and then rather than getting really awkward parking, reversing into caravan parks, just use the app and drive it in. It's got to be sweet.
Yes, yeah, and in fact, the Cybertruck has got automatic. I think they've patented, or Tesla's patented, automatic docking or reversing to meet up with your caravan.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's got enough cameras, so I bloody hope it does.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Cool, but yeah, so rest assured, it's working for the time being. The Lake Grace charger is currently offline.
That's okay. We're not going that way. We're going up via Meriden and around.
Yep. Well, I can confirm that the Meriden HPWC, the destination charger, works, and the Southern Cross AC works.
Yeah, I
And
know
you
when
can
I was looking at PlugShare going, oh, Harold was here in middle of June.
Yes, for 4 hours in Southern Cross. It was awesome. But you can obviously make it from Southern Cross to Norseman.
Yes.
Or you can actually go to via Cora Retreat.
We stayed there last time, but then we had accommodation. I'm not sure the accommodation didn't look flash of Cora Retreat when we were there last time.
No, but you could always top up if you wanted to just get a bit more assurance to get to Norseman. Look, unless you stayed overnight at Kalgoorlie, if you wanted to do an overnight there instead, you know.
Probably look at overnighting at Southern Cross and then into Norseman.
Yeah, right.
Do it slowly.
Cool. Yep. Cool.
Pete again.
Steve, this is what I'm going to be expecting to see when you're got your caravan on the back of the Cybertruck.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. No problems whatsoever.
This guy's is he going to do that in one? He's going to do that in one sweep.
One go. Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
He's done that once or twice.
He's
before.
not hard.
He does come forward just a little bit.
Oh, ruined it.
Ruined it. Yeah.
He's only had his license a week.
Yeah.
Apparently, Rob will tell you why that's not possible in Australia, because of so that's only possible on a 2-axle truck, not truck, but 2-axle. Trailer. Yeah, where we've got 3-axle ones, but pretty impressive nevertheless.
Especially since you've got on the right-hand side, you've got the difficulty of that pole there.
He just gives that pole. Yeah,
that's why on the trailers, Pete, there you can wind up the one of the axles. You can wind them up.
Yes. Well, it also saves tyres.
Well, Cyber U
he
will
was
have.
so close. I reckon he could have actually done that in one hit. He just.
It was just that light pole that put him off a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
You can
Well,
see him
Cyber,
go
you with
down
the
bottom.
He dropped his meth pipe, to be honest with you. He was just trying to find it as he was journeying. Like all good truck drivers.
4-wheel steering on the Cybertruck will help that even more.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. Or crab crawling.
Yeah, so Chris in Broome, yeah, look, sadly for you, it's a little bit late to order your Cybertruck. The order page is suspended for the time being, but do yourself a favour, as soon as it opens, just get your order in, and it doesn't matter if it takes 4 years to get it, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. Trust me.
Absolutely.
And that's even given this statement.
The previous comments were general in nature.
But anyway, it's true. It's going to be awesome. 800 k's range.
Yes.
And 0 to 100 in 2.9
9
seconds.
But then they've got the 4 motor now, so
which I haven't seen the stats for.
Which will be.
It might be slightly faster, but it won't be a lot because it won't
No.
make a huge difference. It just makes it
But-
simpler.
I'm also interested in the range though. Will it have the same size battery? In which case, the reason I chose the long range is got slightly more range than the performance.
Oh yeah.
So if the tri motor has got slightly more range than the quad motor,
Aren't they scrapping the tri-motor now? It's just
Yes,
gonna be
I think so.
dual or quad.
I think that's dead right, Chris. They'll have the dual motor and they'll have the quad motor, and that'll be it. There's no reason to have a tri motor with a diff and all that sort of catastrophe.
Mm.
You're just not going to bother.
I think
Okay.
yeah, because everyone else like Rivian etc. is all quad motor. I think they've just got rid of the tri.
Thing too is when you do vectoring, you could actually torque vector each motor and not have to use ABS, the brakes to arrest the spinning wheel because I use open differentials. So that's the only way you can wear out brake pads in a Tesla is basically keep doing launches on wet roads, because one of the brakes have to come on to stop that spinning wheel from
and transfer
wheel
the
that's
torque.
broken yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be so awesome. Anything
Alex,
better than
Alex knows about that sort of stuff. Alex?
Yes, come in.
Being in Mandurah, you'd spin a few wheels in your day, would you?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a sort of area pastime.
Just not in the Tesla, obviously, but
because you can't.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll
you
ask,
can. Very
I'll, ask,
hard.
I'll ask a question about the battery then. So I believe like in the Model Y standard range, you can charge to 100% on a regular basis. That's fine.
All
But
day, every day.
with me, for instance, like living in Broome, it'd probably take 2 weeks to. Obviously, in the beginning, I'll drive it lots, but just general day-to-day use, it probably take 2 weeks to get through the battery. Do you think that's okay to like cycle it only every 2 weeks, or should we be trying to cycle it quicker? Like, is that okay? 2 weeks, that's fine.
Totally fine. There's
Yeah.
no issue. Elon Musk has definitely said that you can take it to 100%, that the LFP batteries like to be at 100% or have zero objections to being charged to 100%. But it doesn't matter if it takes a couple of weeks for you to get it down to 30% or whatever. That's completely fine.
So that would be better than charging it like every night when it's only gone down to like 5% or something. It's better just to let it go down.
Harold,
I don't
there's
know.
been some
Right, thanks,
talk
Sterling.
regarding charging LFPs to 100%.
Yes, I did see that article.
Yeah, was basically they're saying that Elon said that because it makes it easier to get the voltage of the battery to work out the range. But they also said that whilst it doesn't matter as much for the LFPs as NCAs and so on, you shouldn't charge them to 100% every single day. Maybe once or twice a week is fine, because it will create a bit of degradation. That's what the article said.
I did see that article.
And
I guess I'd want to see
Playboy
two.
do
I want to see.
have a very valid suggestion there.
I guess I'd want to see a couple of articles about it just to be sure that it's. But one thing we don't know is what does Tesla define as 100%? Are they sandbagging that slightly on the LFPs? So is the 100% the real 100%, like it clearly is on the NCAs, or is there a little bit of sandbagging? In which case it might not make any difference. But yeah, you could take your point.
The NCAs have still got a little cap at the top and bottom of a couple of percent. And I'm assuming that the LFPs would have the same, because if you take an LFP battery to 0, you need to replace it.
Yes, which is why the cars have a buffer.
Yeah, they've got a
And-
buffer top and bottom.
Yeah, and they'll disconnect. The battery pack will literally disconnect itself from the rest of the car if you violate that buffer or get to what it considers dangerously low. Yeah, look, I don't really know what to make of that article. It's a single article, and I know it runs contrary to what Elon Musk has said. Does that mean, the advice is to take it to 95 and call it quits? I don't know. You need a bit more research or a bit more verification that it really is the case in Tesla's battery packs with the way they define 100%. Because, for instance, in the Porsche Taycan, I think that's well and truly sandbagged, because they have full regen at what they call 100%. And we know, and that's their NCA batteries, and we know it's just not true in a Tesla, because when Tesla says 100% in an NCA, it means it, because you have 0 regen, 0 anything.
So mine does that at 91%.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that came from an update, because I get that as well. It's annoying.
So Chris,
I know,
I guess the
personal
best.
issue.
Look, if you say, look, if we want to pick 95% as a happy medium, which actually isn't a check mark that is available. You got to do it sort of in between. You get like it's not tactile feedback, but it's like you get stickiness at the 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100% marks as you slide the slider across on the screen. You could just sort of place it in between the 90 and the 100 if you liked, and just leave it like that forever. But Elon Musk has officially said that it likes to be at 100%. But yeah, but I guess we're just going to have to see if there's any more further information that comes out of that article, Nigel. But yeah, I have seen it. And a shout out to I forget the gentleman that gave it to me, but anyway, I'll think of him in a moment. But yeah, there is an article about that says it. Maybe the 100% isn't as great as it could be, but anyway. Anyone else got any other comments or questions?
Has
or anything?
anyone noticed? I was speaking to Andrew Horrid today, and he said that he's updated his car to 16.2, which I did with both of my cars a few days ago as well. But he's noticed the regen bar, the regen and the acceleration bar is a little bit thick. You know how it used to be thicker, then it went and was a little bit thinner, and now it's back, apparently back to normal.
The visualizations have changed slightly. The bar is a bit thicker, and also the other cars in front of you and beside you, the visual those is a bit more realistic.
But
I can concur with that.
another thing that he's noticed is, I'm assuming when his battery is a bit cold, so you know how the cars are supposed to be using brakes if you charge the battery to 100%, or if your battery is a bit cold, to help the regen. So I wonder if his battery was a bit cold, because he noticed that part of so if you go to the left, that's your regen. So part of it was green, but part of it was grey. So
yes, that's limited.
Yeah, that it's using the actual physical brakes.
Well, Pete,
Yeah, when it's cold.
Today I drove my car late in the afternoon, and I didn't really think about it. I hadn't driven it all day, and I had restricted regen because it was cold. The battery pack was cold, because if it's less than 17.5 degrees off the top of my head, or 18.5, it actually has restricted regen. By the way, it was Peter Harris that gave me the tip about that article. Just came to my mind. But yeah, so a lot of people don't realise that even if it's in the middle of the day, your battery pack could still be quite cold in winter. and it can make a difference.
I normally heat up your car half an hour before you hop in, and that normally helps as well.
Yeah,
just a little bit. You know, especially when first thing.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
I noticed my wipers are a lot better since the last upgrade. They used to race across the screen. The last couple of days, they've been a lot better with that new update.
Oh, wow.
Deep rain.
Yeah, Pete, I was when I went to Margaret River last weekend. Yeah, last week, I was using the voice command because it wasn't getting it quite right. It would go crazy or not do much. And I found it easier just to do the voice command and tell it what to do. But
okay.
That
Well,
was the
you've got-
16.2. That was 16.1.2. And I wasn't happy with the responsiveness of the wiper blades, but I'll try it with 16.2. I think that's what you just were talking about.
Yeah, well, mine certainly seems better, but I've never tried the voice command on it. So, yeah.
Steve, if you want to bring up the menu quickly, all you do is just press the button from the side that makes the windscreen wipers go up, and then the textual menu comes down along the bottom.
Yeah, I use that a bit too, especially if I want to make it a fast intermittent rather than slow intermittent. I do find that quite handy as well, but it depends how busy the road is, and especially as we're going around those roadworks between Capel and Bustleton, I was focusing on the road, so I didn't want to be selecting the appropriate one as the showers came through.
What do you say when you tell it to change the speeds?
Just windscreen wiper, usually say auto if it's off, and then it goes crazy, and then you say, I think, then I usually resort to 1 or 2 or off. I tell it off.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
But wipers doesn't work. It has to say windscreen wipers.
Oh, never tried that.
New tip.
Try it.
There's always something you can learn. Yeah.
Go on, Paul, try it now.
Yeah, just put your phone on the outside.
Windscreen wiper on. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it won't fucking stop. Back to off. There you go. Put it back to auto. No worries.
Sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
Peer reviewed.
There you go.
Does it work for wash windscreen?
Good question.
Ooh.
Wash windscreen. Dome lights are on. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Turn dome lights off. There we go.
It worked. Nice.
That's a good fun toy. Oh yeah.
Something I saw that sort of alludes to something that's automatic, or it was actually manually done by humans, and this goes back to 1943 Spain, which I think we've had on this show a long time ago, and it goes like this. All EVs.
Wow.
I think Neo have actually done it slightly better than that.
That's what I was about to say.
With different music too.
And also have so have Tesla, but Tesla stopped doing it because no one wanted it. basically.
I think
Because
that's because I think it's really quite a good idea. 3 to 5 minutes and you've got a nice brand new battery pack fully charged. Piece of cake.
Tesla could do it in 50 seconds.
Yep.
Now, that's too quick. I mean, that's ridiculous. I won't have time for a wee.
No,
But then
well,
they
in
don't
fact,
get to sell 20 cars. So
they can do 2 battery swaps in the same time as it takes to fill a standard
Two and a half.
diesel car.
2.5. Harold.
Yep. And I just haven't. If I had another producer with me next to me, I'd be able to whip out that video in no time. But I've done it before. But yeah, it actually does go for quite a while, as in the petrol car. And yeah, they basically do it twice on a Model S. And that was back in 2016, I think it was. Yeah. Long time ago. They only ever had one swapping station. And yeah, they did a few swaps and they canned it because people just weren't that interested. Once the superchargers were out there. But like you say, Nigel, I mean, with Neo, they've gone this different route, and I guess time will tell, won't it? You know, perhaps later when people consider batteries like LPG cylinders, because remember how you used to keep your own cylinder? It used to cost a lot of money, and you jealously guard it and get it refilled, and now you just toss it, and well, you just go to Bunnings and swap your old wrecked one for a less wrecked one. Yeah, maybe that's a thing. Don't know. I mean, and there's the one issue is there's no standard for a battery. So if they're all the same, then it would be more ubiquitous. But I guess it'll always be an EO battery swapping station.
Yeah.
And Pete is showing us
Producer Pete.
Producer Pete, co-producer.
Come on.
He's on pause. It's loading. No, it's not on pause. There we go.
That's better. Yeah, it takes a little while.
Model S, we actually thought, well, we should preserve the optionality. So what if people do want to switch out their battery pack? What if they only want to stop for a short period of time? And when you come to the back,
that was exciting.
Yeah, try to fast
bolts
forward
to
it.
the exact specification that each bolt needs. So it's talked to the factory specification every time
this
there's
is
a
the second
battery pack
battery that
swap.
they're swapping out already. Because they swapped out 2 batteries.
Yes.
In the time it took to refuel that one car. Yeah, this one's about to be done.
Look at the price of the fuel.
That's per gallon.
There we go. Tax going up.
So we have automated nut runners. These are the same nut runners that we use in the factory. And they find the spot where the bolts are and automatically.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That's gone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
It went back.
sorry. I think I'm going to get fired on my first day.
You're doing an awesome job, Pete.
Yeah, all right. I'll just get rid of that, I think. I don't know how to get back. Oh, no, it was here somewhere, was it?
There we go. Cool, I'll fix it for you.
Thank you.
It is
Put
hard.
me out of misery.
It is hard to do that smoothly.
On an iPad, it's not fun.
No, but yeah, but that was really cool that they did go to all that bother, and then, well, no one wanted it. So let's see how Neo goes. But it's certainly interesting, for sure.
You know what's my theory as to why no one wanted it? Well, think about it. Let's say someone said to you that in Karrinyup, they'll recharge your iPhone in half a second and they won't charge you a cent for it. It will be free and will take half a second. versus having to wait an hour and a half to do it at home. Would you get in your car and take your iPhone to Karrinyup to recharge it? Of course you wouldn't, because you can just plug it in at home. So that's the convenience of just plugging in at home, I think, dawned on Tesla.
Yeah, but when you're out and about and you're doing a drive, you go to a supercharger, and mine takes to go from 20 to 90% about 30 minutes. If I was on a drive, I wouldn't need that 30 minutes. Didn't take that long to go for a wee. Just drive it in, 5-10 minutes to swap the battery, and you're off again.
I wonder if there's some reluctance for people who've got new batteries, may not want to swap it and get one that's far more degraded. So there could be that reluctance.
And also, so remember the Nokias, you could just pull the battery out and replace it. And then we went to the iPhones, and the iPhone took, much longer to recharge than the 2 seconds it took to replace the battery. But, everyone went to the iPhone despite the fact that you couldn't swap the battery. So I think Tesla's sort of betting on that as well.
On a slight variation, I'm a bit concerned about Tesla's new chargers they're putting in. They're only putting batches of 3. And in a couple of years, that's going to be so inadequate, I reckon. I think we need batches of 6 as a minimum. That's where Gundagai, Goulburn, all those have got at least 6s. I think we're going to be a bit left out in the cold with 3 chargers at a lot of places.
Let's just get some superchargers around the bloody state to start off with.
That is the first step, that's for sure. But it'd be good to see batches of 6 going in. But any at this stage would be good.
Yeah, Pete, Tesla will adapt. The running joke, of course, and frustration with a lot of us was when Tesla put 6 stalls at Eton. And those ones were paired. There were 2 stalls per cabinet. So there were 3 cabinets, 6 stalls. Now, at that time, it would have been much better to have 2 at Eton, and 2 others somewhere else, and another 2 somewhere else again. Look, Williams shows no sign of being congested at this stage, but it will. Like, eventually it'll get to... In fact, I'm quite certain that Williams actually has provision to have another 3 stalls. In fact, I do know that for certain, that there's provision to do another 3.
Williams has been fully occupied a couple of times I've been there. And there was one guy had to wait a while too. Not that that's a big thing at the moment, but it's going to get that way, I think.
Yep, but they will adapt. Of course, what we want them to do is blaze the trail. We can now officially state that Albany's, there. We know Lancelands is locked in. We infer that there'll be others.
Albany,
Yeah, Albany. Something I can confirm that there doesn't seem to appear to be a sign of is a supercharger route to Kalgoorlie, which is a little bit disappointing at this stage, because I looked at the Shire of Dandaragan's council minutes, and they were discussing the Synergy EV chargers going in there, next year or whatever. And what they unfortunately indicated was that no other proponents had suggested there be a DC charging location in Southern Cross, which obviously means that Tesla hasn't approached them yet officially, which is a shame. But they, we just want them to blaze the trail and then fill it in once you get occupancy. So, I mean, look, I was at Karrinyup, 2 days ago because there was a certain car fire in the underground car park, and I thought, I hope it's not a car that starts with letter T. In the end, it seems to be one that starts with letter P and ends in Orsh, and but apparently it was a fuel leak. And that's.
I just wanted to take that opportunity to say that what we want them to do is to just think about the principle. I think overriding principle is when we're putting these charges in, is that they need to be you know, it should be as convenient or more convenient to charge an EV than to refuel a petrol car. And, you know, once you have a trailer, having to unhitch it and reverse in, or the only other alternative is to park across, you know, park across 3 chargers or 4 chargers, you know, that's not convenient and that's not fun. And, you know, when you're towing your trailer, you're more likely to be charging more often because your range is reduced. And yeah, it's just not fun taking a trailer off. So
Yeah, there was a guy at Williams had that same problem. He was coming from Melbourne, and he hooked up and he blocked another charger, and then he had to unhook and move.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we need to think of with these chargers is disabled drivers. You go to Karrinyup and you park there and you're a disabled driver, you can't.
You've got no chance.
You've got no chance. And one thing that I did notice in England, where I was staying down on the south coast of Kent, there was a public car park, and they were fitting 4, they looked like they were going to be 50 kilowatt chargers. 3 were normal bays. 1 was a huge bay, shaded specifically for disabled people to go and park there and charge their car. And I thought, that's what we need. And I did actually mention this in a video that I put out a while ago. We need to think about the disabled people as well, because why can't they have EVs?
Absolutely. Now, as far as it goes with parking configurations, Synergy and presumably Horizon have thought of this with their network, but this is the city of Geraldton's minutes from December last year, and Synergy had suggested this layout, which was a drive-through arrangement, which would have been great for trailers. So they've got the DC and the AC chargers and the bays that would drive through.
Perfect.
But and they also offered a more conventional. Oh, sorry, it goes the other way. My bad. This one, same location. So you can see this is this section, and this is a more conventional parking. What the city of Geraldton voted for and agreed to was this configuration. They voted down this configuration because they said that this one would have less impact because these are RV or whatever parking bays, long ones, and they voted to accept this configuration and not this one, even though Synergy did offer it. So unfortunately, it's councils that are making the local decisions. It's not necessarily Tesla or Synergy / Horizon Power. So I hear you, Nigel, but I think they've done this layout with the intention to have easy accessibility if you've got a wheelchair, if you need wheelchair access, because you've got the extra bay. You've got the extra bay in the middle, and then you've got the chargers.
Is that a vacant bay, the one in the middle?
I think
yellow one.
So. I think so. I don't have the. It's the charge. Well,
Charger Island. It
it's
says
the Charger Island. So, I'm.
But you know what? That will be where the transformer goes.
The transformer's on the left, Pete.
No, the transformer's there. The transformer's here.
Right.
So then the actual charger is there. I'm not exactly certain what the island means, but I think it might be skinnier than that, and it means that the bays will be naturally wider. Because the issue is with disabled drivers, so if you need wheelchair access, or wide open door. So they have thought about it, and like I said, this other proposal would have been really nice for towing and all other purposes, but it was knocked back by the council. So the council actually, when they voted, they actually anyway, I'll find it in a sec, but they basically voted for the conventional parking, unfortunately, the back-end parking.
The thing is, there's plenty of other parking spots, the long trailer parking spots around. It's not just those ones. So,
Well, you know what the council, it's Synergy can offer.
yeah, that's all they can do.
And it's up
Yeah.
to the council to, you know, they do what they do. But
Well, kudos to Synergy, and no doubt you had some involvement there as well. So yeah, at
yeah,
least
well,
it's
yeah.
Can
And that
we-
was at front of mind.
Can we make representation to the state government to try and make it a ruling that all these EV bays have got to have one disabled bay that can be used for charging?
The short answer is it's too late, Nigel. All of this stuff's the councils have
Tenders are
decided.
done.
And the problem is, it's the councils that have the ultimate
veto
decision or veto
Yeah,
on,
but the
on
state
where
government
these things
have
go.
ruled things, and they have done with planning.
Yeah, but it's, you know what? If if the state government had put in $40 million instead of $20 million,
which was what Thomas Brown initially recommended, wasn't it?
Yep.
Is what his
if
preferred.
they'd spent the money, they could have easily afforded to do stuff like have drive-through with all the, you know.
Well,
this-
our illustrious Minister for Climate Change and Environment, Reece,
Mr. Whitley to you. No, it's Reece. It's Reece.
It's Reece to me, mate.
It's Reece to you, and it's Mr. Farrier to him.
But
Dr. Farrier, actually.
He tweeted out about something about all these, closing the coal mines. And Richard Chapman, I noticed, put something on there, and I said, look, that's all great, but we need to have massive, and I enlarged massive capital expenditure for wind and solar. And he came back and said, we have allocated billions just for that. Not millions, billions. Yep. And I'm going, oh yeah?
3.8.
Go, Pete.
I know. I was just 3.8 billion.
Well,
But
is that including the off-grid stuff that was just announced 1 or 2 days ago? Because that's a new announcement in addition, which was to take 700 kilometres of end-of-the-line transmission cables out of the system and to do off-grid standalone power supplies.
Hmm.
And that was billions as well.
Yeah, and they're putting in a lot of batteries.
Well, I think I said last week that the state of Texas, with a population of 28 million people, are spending $480 million on EV charging infrastructure, fast DC charging infrastructure. So
they've just announced another 700 million. Read earlier this morning.
What, Texas?
No, sorry. I think that was US. The federal.
Okay, yeah. But the money being spent in the rest of the world.
Oh. All you have to do is look across the ditch. I mean, yeah.
Well, it's funny because if you look across the ditch with charging, I mean, let's just look at WA for now, and whoops, I'll just get rid of that. And it's just kind of pathetic, although it looks a lot better than it used to. And even over east, it's looking actually pretty good. You go across the ditch, and that's not the whole story, because you'll notice it's starting to fill in, and if you zoom in, you actually get more. So, and New Zealand's not a rather large country. If you plot this across the WA, it's going to get embarrassing. Oh, it's going to get embarrassing.
Yeah.
They were miles ahead of us, years ago, well ahead of us, and EVs too, because they allowed mass imports of secondhand EVs.
They do.
They weren't really ahead of us. They were just in line with the rest of the world, and we've been huge laggards. So,
yeah, but you can't tow your caravan. You can't tow your trailer. It'll ruin your weekend.
If you live in an apartment, what are you going to do? You're going to run an extension cord from a 4-story window.
Actually, Pete, I've actually done an extension cord through a Red Rooster restaurant. Out through the drive-through bay and all. Anyway.
Well, that's the great thing about all the fast food outlets. All their ovens run on the 5-pin 32 amp, three-phase.
Yes, and the nice gentleman at Tennant Creek, and I'm trying to bring up, I think I might have, I don't have the, oh no, it won't be there. Yeah, he basically unplugged one of his fat fryers, the chip fryers, because it was towards the end of the evening for them, and plugged me in with a 15-meter extension cord. And I do have a photo somewhere of it, but just goes to show you can charge your car anywhere.
Oh, see you, Paul.
See you, Paul.
See you, Paul. Take care. Okay, so has anyone else got any other questions or?
I've got another one.
Go, Steve.
Would we have an inconvenience, and I'll bring up the screen, so I'll just grab the screen for a moment. That this is a single, and we'll bring up the picture. Oh, you can't get it. It's a Tesla destination charger, and it's the only one that's actually reasonably accessible. Those are part of car dealerships in the Rockingham region. And we're getting some road rage, or charge rage, shall we call it. So it's getting quite a bit of use. And I'll just scroll down. You can see every day there's a few. I've given up when I was third in line once or twice. But some people don't use PlugShare. And you can read some of the comments.
Go up. What was that? What a selfish Tesla owner. Car has been there more than 3 hours, fully charged.
So
yeah, I'm aware of this too.
Yep.
So I was at Kent Street on the weekend, and there was 3 Teslas there waiting to charge.
Yeah, I mean, I've turned up, went there on, because nobody was plugged in. It was recorded on PlugShare, and yeah, there was one had turned up and got on PlugShare, correct, and someone else, it was Sid actually, turned up and they said, yes, well, I'm actually waitlisted, and I said, oh, well, I'm not urgent, I don't need it. But the point is that we have this fairly large area with, that's the only publicly available, and it's a single Tesla destination charger.
Yep.
How do we lobby, and is that something TOCWA has experience with, or AEVA, the local council, to go, hey, put a second one in, double. It gets powered from the panels above the Gary Holland Centre, so it's not like it's a cost factor. It's just one of these things which is getting quite annoying, and yeah, I'm just use my EV tariff and fill up that way.
Look, I've had the same trouble there, and also over at Baldivis Stockland. There's one guy who parks there for 3 and 4 hours, plugged in. He can be fully charged, and you message him on PlugShare. At least he's on that, and he goes, yeah, I'll be there soon. And half an hour later, he still hasn't come.
Yeah,
and it does give me the shits a bit sometimes. But with the council, when that was originally put in, it had big Tesla chargers signs up all over the place there. And one councillor got very unhappy with it and said, why are we advertising Tesla? Take all those signs down. So they're not very EV friendly. There was a recent council election, and I know at least one of them is very EV friendly.
And I suspect the mayor wasn't very EV friendly.
I don't think the mayor is, no.
He lost his job, so the new mayor hopefully is.
She isn't, because
Oh.
I emailed all candidates for the council elections, and only 2 or 3 bothered to reply. One of the new females, which I think she got to be mayor, really was, yeah, look, it's be all right, one day we'll get around to it type of attitude. Only one councillor goes, yeah, we need to be putting in more chargers in buildings, in new developments, need to have public chargers and so on. And I emailed him again well after the elections to see how it was going, and he goes, "Yeah, we've been looking at it." So once they get elected, they couldn't give two shits.
Which council was that?
Rockingham.
Yeah, City of Rockingham.
Well, there is a famous person living there.
Yeah, but it's not his council.
He's not in the country at the moment. He's off on some jaunt.
That's right.
Yeah, to Rome.
He met the King of Spain.
Yes. Very good. There's a very easy solution, and I can give you an even worse, a better parallel of what was the problem and what was the solution, and that's this. It was actually a fast DC charger at Prime West Gwelup Shopping Centre. So this is an awesome setup. Prime West actually installed it, Energy Tech installed it. It's a dual. There's two outlets. There's a 50 kilowatt tritium. In fact, there's a freeloader just right there, jackknifing his box trailer just to get in.
Oh,
And
shocking.
Right now, I know. Right next to it, there's a dual outlet Schneider Type 2. But this
And
place,
see that one could have been a drive-through configuration as well, so you wouldn't have to knife check your trailer.
yeah,
because
exactly. That would have been pretty cool. You can't actually see the other charger because it doesn't. People haven't. Oh, there you go. There it is right there. So there are actually 3 bays, and you sort of split it between the 2 chargers. Now this place, when it first came out, was free, and this location was absolutely so profoundly hammered it just literally wasn't funny, with hundreds of freeloading Tesla and other EV owners wanting to get their free juice because they deserve it. And the way that this is now fixed, if you actually look at the check-ins now, you'll notice that there's one on the 28th of June, 26th, 25th. There's a couple. There's a little bit of use, but then, and not everyone checks in, obviously, in PlugShare, but it gets sporadic use. And you know why it gets sporadic use? Because it
they
frigging
charge.
costs money to, now they charge you, sorry, I'll just get back onto it. Now they charge you 45 cents a kilowatt hour. So if you live in Perth, or if you live in any of these surrounding suburbs, why would you pay 45 cents a kilowatt hour? And mind you, this is fast DC charging, when you can just charge at home for between nothing and not very much. Now, this is my little personal rant. There's nothing, as Paul Keating would say, that never get in the way, never get between a Premier and a bag of money, because you'd get slaughtered. Never ever get between a Tesla or an EV owner and free charging, because you will get slaughtered. And it's awesome that people say, I want my free charging, but the way you solve it is, and if they installed a Generation 3, a third generation white HPWC at Rockingham and all the other Tesla destination chargers, and just charge 25 cents per kilowatt hour or 30 cents, problem solved. You won't get the freeloaders that just park their car and sit there forever.
Especially if we could have idle fees of some form associated with it.
Well, actually, you know what? Since we're going to be in a minor rant mode, there have been many photos taken at the Karrinyup Supercharger of a certain Model X, and it's not mine, and it's not anyone in this room, that because it's a nice parking spot, and so as to avoid idle fees, they park their car at the stall and don't plug in. So therefore, Tesla don't know that supercharger stall is being located. So
it's extra frustrating because when you're navigating to that, it may say that there's a free spot when there isn't one.
Exactly right. So unfortunately, as they always say, Tesla owners is just a microcosm of society, and there are those that are altruistic, and there are those that are the opposite of that, and it's a spectrum. But I think one bad thing Tesla did in the early days was offer free unlimited lifetime supercharging and also offer free destination charging. And if something's for free, it's a tragedy of the commons. They're going people, a subset of people will milk it till the cows come home.
Well, I was getting into that because I wanted the 11 kilowatts charging rate because that's as fast as I could get, whereas I couldn't get that at home. And I'd come back from Margaret River, so I needed to wanted to get up to a comfortable level in case something happened. I had enough juice to get up to Perth. So I resorted to.
Alex wanted to say something before.
Yes,
Alex. I was going to say, with the Rockingham Charger, believe it or not, I think one of the councillors does park their car next door to that charger. So they're aware that people do freeload there, and if people continue taking advantage of that, then they will probably remove that charger.
It looks remarkably similar to the picture behind you, Alex.
Yeah, it does.
Why remove it? Don't remove it. That's silly. No. Just charge for it.
Yep. Just substitute it for a Generation 3 one. Although Tesla hasn't put look, they haven't implemented that setup, but it is capable of doing it so that they can actually recover costs, and that solves the problem.
Yes. Yeah. I think someone just ask the councillor, I suppose, and
at Stockland Shopping Centre in Baldivis, I've had many discussions with the manager. They're putting on massive number of solar panels on the rooftop car park. I think there's going to be about 3.5 megawatts of solar panels.
Love it.
They've already got about 500 solar panels up, and they're only half or a third of the way through. So that will all be really nice up there for charging your car off the sun. But I do know that he has been in negotiation to put in 2 or 3 or 4 fast DC chargers in the downstairs car park near Red Rooster, Hungry Jack's, out that way. But he said that the problem is they want something like 1,000 amps at 10,000 volts to get in there. And it's a little bit hard at the moment to try and organise that with Western Power.
Yeah.
But they are looking at, and there will be paying ones.
Good.
But I mean, that'd be fine. You can go in there and get 50 kilowatts and fill up in 45 minutes or whatever.
Yep. No, Nigel, no one's going to use it. So not no one, but there's no way in hell that you would use it, Nigel, because you'd charge up at home for vastly less cost.
Well,
which is the right thing to do.
1st of July, possibly 8 cents.
Exactly. Another installation that's going to be one of many fast DC chargers in Perth is Ampol's Foodary Belmont. So this is on their website, which is now rebranded as Amp Charge, and it must just be it says charging up to 150 kilowatts, and God only knows why they've got CHAdeMO. That's just mind-blowing, but that's going to be at the Ampol.
Keep those Leaf owners happy and the Mitsubishi Outlander Febs happy.
What, the 6 of them?
Yeah.
So that's coming very soon. I think that was supposed to be open in July. So it must be any time soon. I went past there a few days ago and there was no sign of anything yet, but it is coming. And there's going to be 34 others in Greater Perth that Ampol are doing. Coming soon to an Ampol near you.
It's very handy for the apartment owners type people.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Steve. And that's probably about it. And maybe couriers,
Uber drivers,
and similar. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that thing with the Kent Street car park, of course, is that there are quite a few apartment buildings around there. And so those apartment buildings are not set up for charging. So I can understand that a few people have no alternative but to use that single charger Or
if it's free, Steve, it's going to get raped. I'm
Yep,
really sorry to say, and it's human
Yep.
nature. I mean, you know, what the best things in life are free. People cannot resist. People will drive. I mean, they'll drive many kilometers, and on an 11 kilowatt car, you can put 11 kilowatt hours of energy per hour, which is worth at home 25 cents. 20. Sorry, is it
20 or 30?
9 cents? Let's call it 30 cents a unit.
Yep.
So let's call it $3 of value you can put into your car. And I've observed people sitting in their car for an hour to get $3 of value. So if you think your time is worth $3, fair enough. If you know, if perhaps it is, but that's the problem. If it's free, there'll always be a subset of people that wreck it for everyone else. And in the case where you were saying, Steve, that you actually wanted to have a bit of a top up just to feel a bit better about your trip, and you weren't there with the intention of milking it.
That's right.
You
No,
got
I
frustrated
returned to
because
Perth with
someone else was milking.
33%. So I wanted to get it up to 50, 60%. And it's quicker to do it there than at home. And I was going to get breakfast and go for a walk around the foreshore. So I wasn't wasting my time.
Exactly. Yeah. So you suffered, but so in that case, you would not have minded to pay 30 cents a unit because you just wanted that assurance, and you'd have a break and whatever. But because it was free, other people decided consciously to do the human thing and use it to its fullest.
And that one person who doesn't seem to like using PlugShare and doesn't respect others' desire. So hold.
Yes, and
It's a
it
shame.
happens. It happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I do get a bit annoyed when people aren't on PlugShare. I smashed my phone whilst I was on holiday, so I've only just got PlugShare installed again today. So the few times I've been up there, I've not been on PlugShare. Yeah, I
You've
know.
got need to charge, Nigel.
Sorry?
You've got need to charge though as well, don't you?
Yes, I do. That's in the windscreen. But I mean, people will look on PlugShare and they'll drive up there and they go, "Oh, someone's parked there," and just drive off. They won't get out to go, "Oh, has he got need to charge on his windscreen?"
Yep. I got some Toka, a couple of those. I see you're not actually logged into PlugShare. Would you please consider logging to PlugShare? And I'm just putting inside the driver's window so that when they go to open the door to get in, it says, "Would you please consider using PlugShare?" Very nice, very polite, but hey, let people know what's going on.
Yeah, except people get frustrated because when they come to get their free juice, they get really annoyed when there's someone already there, right? And they get frustrated. Now, what they might do, or they'll claim they do, is before they sort of decide to go to that site, they'll look on PlugShare to see if it's occupied. Now, that's fair enough because you could always see that someone's there and decide not
Change
to
your
drive
plans.
to that location, change your plans. But that still doesn't stop the classic frustration of you look on PlugShare, let's say you're 5 Ks away from that location, you look on PlugShare, or you get your passenger to safely look on a phone while you're driving safely, 2 Ks away or 1 K away, and there's still no one on PlugShare. It's awesome. You get there, and then, oh, bugger me, there's someone on that just rocked up and plugged in. Then they check in on PlugShare. So I think the problem is human nature is you still get frustrated if you turn up and someone else is there. It doesn't matter whether you were told about it on PlugShare or someone was about to log in. There's always that scenario where it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, I've actually had the other way around. At Stockland in Baldivis, there's the Tesla destination charger that only works on Teslas, and there's a Type 1. And I got there before I went on holiday. There's a Tesla parked in the bay and plugged into the Tesla, and he was charging. I thought, well, that's fair enough. I went into the Type 1, got my adapter out, and I plugged into the Type 1. I was going shopping. I got back. Unfortunately, PlugShare on my phone does not seem to give me the messages and notify me. So I then did my shopping, unplugged, drove home, and I get an email. You've got a message on PlugShare. And it was along the lines of, how dare you plug into a Type 1? You're a Tesla. You should go into the Tesla places. And I emailed them back and I said, well, there was a Tesla park there, so you can go and take a fucking jump in the lake.
Oh, you're a grumpy young man.
But see, Nigel,
Hey, I look grumpy.
if that was, if you had to pay for that Type 1 charging, would you have used it? The answer is no. You would have charged at home yourself.
No, if I'd have been paying for either the Type 1 or Type 2, and I was going there and I needed some charge, I would pay for it.
Yes, but yeah. So I think the biggest, the best alleviate, and well, here's a classic anti-Tesla example. The number of times I've gone to Karrinyup and seen zero Teslas at the superchargers, and 2 Model 3s at the nearby free Type 2 chargers. Now,
is that up in the yellow section as well? Because there's some more out up there.
Oh no, this is just the ones next to the supercharger. Now, imagine if I was in an Ioniq, a Kona, a Taycan, and anything else other than Tesla to go, look at that. Every time I come here, there's 2 friggin' Teslas hogging it continually because it's free. So again, that's the problem. If something's there for free, it's going to get used. And
Harold, it sounds like you're advocating.
Anyway, so
you're advocating a level of maturity which is sometimes missing.
Well, what I'm advocating for is there any? I think in the late 90s, there used to be FM. I think it was 96 FM. Used to do free fuel something. You used to get a certain amount of, and that's need to charge. Yes.
Yep. Just going to, those who don't know what need to charge is. Yeah. It's just a website. You can go in there and set up your disk and laminate it and put it on your screen.
So in the late 90s, I think 96 FM used to have a free fuel something. And for a certain number of cars, the first X number of cars used to get a free tank of juice. And, you get huge crowds. I mean, no one offers free petrol to anyone, anywhere. Why are they doing it with EVs? It's not sustainable by definition. No matter how I used to take my car to Riverton shops, the Stockland in Riverton, and charge there. And I would justify it by saying, well, I do go to the Woolies, which is out of my way, blah, blah, blah. But, my car can suck 17 kilowatts. So, if I was there for an hour, that's a bit of value. And was the sushi that I bought for $10, well, it was a great deal for me, but was it a great deal for the tenants of the shopping centre? Don't know.
Yep.
But Harold, because you're going there more often than you would have gone to your local. So if you needed a pen, a new tie, a new socks, new jocks, or whatever, you would have bought them there.
Yes.
So get it backed up.
Yeah. And I guess also in, I'm not going to call it greenwashing, although I just did. In terms of Stockland could also account for the fact that they've delivered electricity to an EV and account for that as a benefit in their accounting for greenhouse gas emissions, because my car is abating those emissions because it's more efficient than an average petrol car, blah, blah. But still the fact remains, there needs to be a point in time when everyone pays for fuel, and even if it's a peppercorn.
Supermarkets, they've got what are called loss leaders. They put them out on the shelves in an obvious place and go, have this for $1. And people go, wow, they're $5 worth of value. I'll take them. And the shopping centres look upon these charges in a similar vein. We can attract some people there. It'll cost us a few bob, but the people that are renting off of us will reap the benefit. And I've spoken to Michael, the manager there, and he basically said, as far as he's aware at the moment, Stockland have got no thoughts of charging for charging.
Yeah, but it works with Stockland, yes.
Yeah. And you can
Right,
account
Alex.
for it. You can absolutely.
Night, everyone.
See, Alex. Take care, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Alex.
see you next week.
Where it breaks down for the shopping centre is when someone sits there for 4 hours, not because they're shopping, but because they're working there.
Yeah, and we've got that at Stockland, Baldivis.
Yeah.
And
That's the
at
problem.
Riverton too. I know someone. I infer that someone's working there because they basically sit there until their car's full, and then they'll park their car for the rest of the day away from the charger. So
Well, I'm glad they move it though.
We had that at Stockland as well in Baldivis. There was one guy, I don't think he's working there now. He used to drive all the way from Armadale down there because he was manager at, I think it was Optus. And he'd come park his on the Type 1 because it was an Ioniq, or I can't remember, but he'd plug it onto the Type 1. And then when it was full, he'd come up, he'd plug it and move it somewhere else and park it. And he was really good. You could contact him on PlugShare, or I used to go down and say, excuse me, can you, I'm desperate. And he'd move his car and he'd move it back after you left. He was really good, but there is another guy who works there. I don't know if he still does. I haven't seen his car for a while. And he leaves it there for his 4-hour shift, which is a pain because he's fully charged sometimes. But a lot of the locals, and we've got a lot of locals now from Golden Bay, Secret Harbour, all come up there to fill up.
Yep.
Yep. Christopher?
Yes.
One of the things you might want to consider getting from Tokwa is the 3-phase 32 amp charger, because in Karatha, one of the more convenient places to actually sit there and charge when you're on your way through up to Broome is at the public library. There is
cool.
And yeah, I found the library is far more comfortable to sit in. You got read while you're getting your 11 kilowatts, as opposed to the shopping centre, which is really tedious. But that's something to consider is a 3-phase 32 amp charger from Tokwa, and talk with Harold on that one.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
yeah, so it's basically it looks like this. It's got a 32 amp 3-phase plug and the Type 2 outlet. And as an example, evse.com.au sell it for a very reasonable $1,280. And at Tokwa for members, we sell it for $750. But it's useful for 32 amp 3-phase outlets, which if you look at PlugShare, there are quite a few in the Kimberley, and on the way up actually. So Nanyatara, you need one of those.
Yep. Port Hedland, you need one of those. Karatha, you need one of those.
In fact, if we just go and filter to 3-phase.
I'm logging out, guys. I'll see you next week at the Mighty Quinn.
At the Mighty Quinn. Look forward to it, Nigel. Take care.
Good night, Nigel. Bye.
Good night. So 3-phase, you've got Pardue, which one of these is actually a 20 amp, so there's a bit of an asterisk.
Yeah, Pardue is the problem one there. So you
Pardue,
continue one to Sandfire if you've got the
So-
range.
So at Sandfire, that's a 32 amp 3-phase. For instance, Portsmouth, that should be Eco Beach. That's not right. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
Portsmouth Caravan Park. They've got one.
That's right, but they're deviations off the road,
It is a
the highway.
deviation. Yeah, I had to
Yep.
actually overnight there. In fact, that's my car there back in 2018. And it's an awesome. That's actually Sylvia in earlier 2018. It's an awesome road. But I had to deviate because it's 70 k's to Bremen. I just couldn't make it before sunset. And you've also got Derby and Fitzroy Crossing and Halls Creek. And
Yeah, there'll be
various
the Horizon Power ones, I think. They're
Yeah,
all
so,
Horizon.
well, Look, Chris, the great thing for you is that I'll try and find the map. I think I do have it. Horizon will have fast DC. They'll have a 50 kilowatt fast DC charger at all the towns and roadhouses. Here we go. This is
It's
the map
just for the
here.
period in between, Chris, until you get until those are installed. If your Model Y is available before these are installed,
Yep.
you've got a choice to make.
Yeah. But let's say by the end of next year, so in 18 months' time, all of these locations will be done, and with the exception of Broome, I did have this mapped out, but anyway, there'll be at least 50 kilowatt fast DC chargers. So even at Pardue, Sandfire, and I think there's an Aboriginal community at Lagrange.
Yeah, there's a school, community school there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're basically doing a 2-for-1, same as Mueller Ranges. You don't need it for range because you can go from Fitzroy straight to Halls Creek. But I think they're also combining what these are actually solar powered standalone power supplies. So they've got diesel generator, battery backed solar power chargers. So there's 100 kilowatts of solar, I don't know, a couple of 100 kilowatt hours of battery storage and a backup diesel generator. And
Yeah, I think that's what's planned for Sandfire. Was talking to the Horizon people.
Yes, yeah. So it's all a rinse and repeat. They'll just do the same setup, even to Baladonia, Kaiguna, Madura, and Eucla. Because in fact, Eucla is off the grid. They actually have their own private grid there. So all of these locations will be fast DC chargers by the end of next year. But Chris, you certainly, when you do get your car, you're more than welcome to borrow this same charger for your trip as a road trip. And then you can just post it back down to us.
Yep.
Or, like I said, if there's a value proposition for you in particular, if you're going to do longer trips in the short term, then it's worth it. But if you're not, then you can just sit back and wait for the next up to 18 months to get awesome charging all the way to Kununurra and, well, basically down to Perth, which means that your trip going up to Broome will be the most adverse version of that trip, if you want to call it that. And after that, it'll just be super easy. It'll just be a wonderful experience. And,
it's exciting. It's exciting. We're at the tipping point, right? You guys have obviously been on the journey for a long time, but this is the moment you've been waiting for
well, absolutely.
I guess mass market and expansion of charging, etc.
Well, back in 2018, in the dark ages, I drove from, let's call it Perth to Carnarvon. That's 907 k's, and there was no fast DC charging between Perth and Carnarvon at the time. So the 907 k's, I had to charge away from home, like after I was full from leaving home, for 7 hours and 5 minutes in that day. And that was 907 k's. You compare that to when I went from Canberra to Melbourne to Keith, which is just outside of Adelaide, and that was 1,200 k's of driving in the one day, and that took less than 2.5 hours of supercharging. And I think I wasted about 25 minutes in Melbourne because I was chatting to the service guys because I'd never seen a service centre before, and just chatting about the trip. So I sort of wasted, I overcharged. I could have left probably 20 minutes earlier. So totally different situation. One was an arduous long day, and the other one was, bashing out 1,200 k's, and the shortest charging session was 10 minutes. So it was the time it took to go to Oliver's at Gundagai and order a scrambled eggs on something and a coffee, and they took 10 minutes to deliver to give it to me, and my watch went off and my car said I'm ready to go. So I just ate it, and I had the breakfast in my lap on autopilot down the Hume Highway. And it took a whole 10 minutes to charge the car. So it was awesome. So yeah, it's going to be cool. Like I said, your first trip will be the most adverse,
Mm.
And after that, it's just sweetness and light. It's just, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
No, it's exciting. Just got to be patient now.
Yes. Yeah, well, patience is a virtue. Well, you don't have to be
Yeah.
patient. You can be impatient. It'll still turn up when it does, but it's worth it. It really is. Everyone in this room who had to wait for their cars, and some of us had to wait years,
Yep.
it's universally worth it, you know. And our only regret is that we didn't do it sooner.
Yep. Yep.
You know, so it's awesome.
No, it's
all
good.
right.
Glad to have met you all, and yeah, excited to go on this journey.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. And like I said, you're welcome anytime at all. And yeah, when it does actually heat up closer to when you're going to get your car, yeah, do keep in touch. You can just actually, I'll just send you. Well, you can even ring me on TOCWA's official helpline, which is 62623131.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've signed up. I've joined up. I'm a member and everything. Paid my
Yeah,
dues.
yes, you have. And thank you for that. Look, the great thing is, you know, being a member of TOCWA can be free. You don't have to actually pay any money. You can just, you know, jump on our website, hop on Ask Us Anything, and all that sort of stuff. One of the few tangible benefits of actually being a financial member is you obviously can vote at our annual general meeting. You can borrow our loan adapters, spare tyres, charging adapters, get discounts on cables, discounts on chargers, and you're also basically tangibly supporting the club. So we can pay things like insurance costs for events and all that sort of stuff. But
I think it's more, for me, it's more about finding like-minded people, you know. There's not many up in the Kimberley, but I'm sure I'll convert a few people once they see me drive around, because unfortunately Matt doesn't drive his Tesla very much. Normally just
Matt's
sits at his house.
I know, that's right. Since he did the big trip. Yeah, and he did the Bunners to Cunners trip with Triple M. And
yeah, Triple M. Yeah, I was all saw all that, and
since
when they
then
came
he's
up
just
here.
been resting on his laurels and being a slacker just quietly. Big shout out.
Yeah, he never drives it. He's never at his work. It's always just sitting at home. Anyway, mine will be there every day.
Well, yours will be flying the flag, mate. So
that's it.
And
it.
People will look at it and go, "A Model Y, look at the size of it!" Like, because these things are huge. Trust me, like they really are. A Model Y is basically almost the same size as a Model X.
Yep.
And Model X's are bigger than Land Cruisers. Their tire track is bigger than a Land Cruiser. So you're going to be flying the flag, and the amount of FOMO that people up there are going to get, they're all going to order them like, they'll be dropping
100%.
like
I've already
flies.
got heaps of people that want to go for a test drive and go for a ride and stuff. So, and there's plenty of interest. So,
I'm sure your rates will be reasonable.
Yeah.
Chris, there was a PricewaterhouseCoopers did a survey of 13,000 people, and they found that half of the people that are actually already in the market to buy a car have said that they're waiting. They decided to put their new car purchase on hold until they can buy an EV. And that number was 38% in Australia. So, look, probably a little bit less when you get to, you know, more remote areas of WA. But one of the reasons is because people need social proof. They need to see others doing it before they will. And, you know, only takes one to, you know, to get it going. And, you know, Broome is a small town, and everyone will get to. One thing you need to do is get a personalised number plate. That's a must.
I don't know.
Electric is already taken, but there's plenty of other good ones.
How long do they keep the personalised plates? I used to have one, but I took it off.
It should still be. It should never expire. It should still be yours. At the you just need to find out where it's being held. Most probably where you returned it.
Yeah, it is perpetual, Carmen. I went across to New South Wales and I had to send back my personalised WA plates. When I returned back to WA 2 years later, because I had told them that I wanted those plates back when I got back into WA, they had destroyed them. They had to replace it at their cost. But the polycarbonate ones, but that's they're perpetual.
Oh, mine's about 5 years old. And
That's right.
I don't know that I said I wanted it back.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They'll just
It's your
remake 'em.
property, so yeah.
Yeah, somebody just said, "Oh, look, you can get targeted. Don't personalize it. It's better to be anonymous." And I took it off.
Well,
Fair enough.
I've had electric and doesn't get any more. And it's a black car with white plates, or the other one's white and white, but the first one's black car with white plates, and they're extra big, so they stick out. So yeah, I haven't had any. Yeah.
And plus your media exposure, Pete.
Jeez. Yes.
Yes,
course.
well, yes, that's right. Because Pete's been watched by millions of people on TV. So
millions,
as opposed to dozens on Ask Us Anything.
Look, I'll make an
All thanks to
inquiry.
Harold, by the way.
I'll make inquiry. I took it to it was the licensing centre at West Perth.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter,
so-
Carmen. They would have just binned them. They would literally just chuck them in the bin because they're not going to bother storing them.
Oh.
And
No,
all
I
you do
think
is
they
just say,
or him, Harold.
"Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
not what happened to Steve." And he did tell them that he was going to come back, and they just went, "Yeah,
That's
sure."
right. Well, they
whatever,
were
mate."
sent from New South Wales, so I think that they took that with a grain of salt. But you also have your registration. You get a piece of paper from them which says, this particular plate number is yours, and you can just wave that at them.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah, see what happens.
They're definitely yours, Carmen. They never resell them to anyone else.
Oh, well, nobody would want mine. It's got my village in Spain on it.
Well, there you go. So, but there's no doubt that will be yours forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've even got some plates that I'm not going to mention because at the time I thought it was cool, and it just kind of is not. And they were actually stolen, and I never bothered to put them back on. They had to do with my profession, and they're still mine. I could if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Just get them remade and put them on a car. They are, and this was back in the early 90s. So
okay.
that was when polycarbonate car plates first came out in about 92 or something like that. So no, they're yours forever.
Okay.
And mind you, they're also yours forever, even though they're not approved. So I've asked for a couple of different versions with the word Tesla, and they've been knocked back. Although the Department of Transport have taken my $300 and turned me down, but they haven't sent me a refund.
You won't get a refund, but you can ask for one. Or actually, I'm not sure if you can ask for a refund, but you definitely can use that money for another plate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm still tossing up about. Anyway, it's just unfair.
My kids bought them for me for a birthday.
Yep.
And I used them for a couple of years and then took them off. Okay.
Look, Carmen, if you want them on your car, just go to license, just go to Department of Transport and say, "I'd like these plates back." They'll probably go, by some miracle, "Oh yes, we have them at whatever depot." It's or we have to we've stored them in long-term storage and it'll take a week to extract, or they may say, "Oh, we'll have to remake them," and they'll either charge you money or like Steve suggested, perhaps they won't, because in essence you've basically paid for them once and it was up to them to look after them on your behalf, and you can just swap your plates for that. You won't get targeted. It's not like,
Yeah. No, I know. This person is a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, didn't you know that if you tow a trailer that's got a generator on the back and you feed that back into your car, you could just drive forever, Carmen? I mean, seriously. And
Perpetual motion.
Perpetual motion. Exactly.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
One thing this show
I've
hasn't got
forgotten
is
about all that. I've forgotten about all that.
Exactly. Well, one thing this show hasn't got is perpetual lifespan, except until episode 100 when we do a talk around the clock. God.
They will do it while I'm overseas. It'll be easier.
Well, yeah,
You could have
unfortunately,
it.
I mean,
You could have it as a progressive evening, so someone can keep it live, but you don't all have to be up.
oh yes, we'd have shifts. That's right. Well, the problem is, I know that Pete will do his best, and I'll do my best to stay up the whole time and punish ourselves because we're worthy of punishment or deserving of punishment.
Well, Pete for suggesting it.
Oh, look, the two of us concocted this thing. Well, I had thought of talk around the clock just because it rhymes with rock around the clock and it sounds cute, but and there were a couple
of stands for Tesla Owners Club.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're talking around the clock. One day we will do an international version of that, which will be much more fun because then we can have shifts. So we could do like a 8-hour shift and then pass it on to the Europeans and then pass it on to the Americans and then round it out at the end. But yeah, we could try and do a talk around the clock. I don't think our 100th episode will be one of those because it's a lot of work.
It's not far away.
Well,
and it's not far away. It's only 2 weeks away. So
maybe you could do it while there is a soccer game on. You can have it quietly going by on a phone.
Yeah, that'd be a bit boring. If it was something Tesla related, if there was some.
Oh, more YouTubes of Cybertrucks or something.
Oh, okay.
That's right. We could cheat and we could just play endless YouTube videos of Cybertrucks and.
Oh, making 4680 batteries off the line and just go, wow, look how fast those have been made.
Yes.
Yeah, have a webcam that just looks at. Or we have a live cross to some webcam at Giga Shanghai or Giga. Well, we rotate Giga Berlin and Giga Texas and
then
just have
grab a 2-hour kip and put an alarm on and just get back.
I'm pitying the poor person who has to take all of the recorded footage, vet it if they didn't watch every bit to make sure that there's nothing inappropriate on it, and then post it.
Is there somebody who does that?
And yeah, it's that poor guy.
Well, weeping in the corner.
Oh.
And then the hours to upload it onto YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And then the hours for YouTube to vet it and
process it. We'd have to probably live stream it and then recut it or something. We just live stream it. It would probably be easier and more reliable because just tonight's thing will be about 1.5 gigabytes of upload to YouTube. And I think the file that Zoom makes is even bigger, I think. It takes a while. So when we finish at 11, which we will in 22 minutes, it won't be until midnight until I actually get to finish because that's when YouTube finally gets it and starts processing it and I can finish the titles and all that sort of stuff. But if it's around the clock, we just probably live stream it. But I mean, one thing I do have to do is I'm obviously going to Europe at the end of the year in fact, I'm going to the Gold Coast in September. So I need to practice doing remote versions of this production with remote desktop or something similar. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Or who's not here at the moment? Russell. You could volunteer him. Oh, damn it, you're recording.
I don't know if he
he
could be left in charge of something like that. He might decide to practice some of his routines.
Well, that we'll get a few graphs as well, I predict.
Absolutely. Well, I reckon that would be you could for at least 22 hours you could do nothing but do analysis of
like that table that Pete put up earlier.
Absolutely.
temperature
We could
versus
go line
range.
item by line item to check it and to see
Yeah,
what
we
the
could do
formula is.
we could do an agenda of items to be discussed.
Oh, I think we
And
could do some
everyone
trend
can-
graphs as well. Yeah.
We could do a run sheet, and we could actually go and we could just look at this map, and we could go, oh, Kalbarri. Now that's in a very interesting place. You know, when I was a kid, I went to Kalbarri, and that was awesome. Then we could talk about Billabong and Overlander and Denham and Carnarvon, and we could get Chris involved, and we go, hey Chris, so what's the weather like in Derby at the moment? You know, and
You can watch me drive to Derby and back.
actually,
Yes.
you know, there is something called Slow TV, and I have bought a couple of GoPros with the intention of literally doing a long drive and just recording it in 4K. And people have uploaded these things to YouTube. Yeah, and it's pretty thrilling, you know.
Well, it's
Slow
a
TV.
hobby. It's a hobby.
It's a hobby. It definitely is. I'm sure that kelp could grow faster than you driving down the road, but anyway. All right, we're starting to get into windy uppy territory. Are there any last bits that we need to discuss or anything new? I don't know what Tesla's share price is doing. It's a little bit probably
It was down last time I
oh,
checked.
3%. Okay, that's good. I mean, sorry, I'm being shamelessly self-interested because I want to buy some in a few weeks. But anyway, it's all good.
I think Paul wanted to as well. He was cheering it down.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's always been a horse called self-interest because it's the only one that's trying.
Yes.
And at the moment, it's in my self-interest for the price to just tank for a while, please, and for our dollar to go up. But it's
Oh, the dollar is really bad. I
Yeah.
just got my bill from booking stuff in Europe, and it's 35% more.
yes, yeah. I think we were less than 69 cents, which is
Yeah.
one of our lowest. It's our
Yes.
second or third lowest day this year, I think. So
Yeah, well,
it's
when
not
I got the
fantastic.
first bill, I said, "Oh, I think you have an error." And I said, "No, there's no error."
No, because they welcome you to pay in euros, the real money,
Yeah.
but when it's in Aussie dollars, it
Oh,
just doesn't cut it.
it's worked out a tad expensive, more than I
Probably-
had thought.
Probably still better than paying in Bitcoin right now.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm sure that the ATO wished that that I'd turned over some of my Bitcoin when it was at the top because that was worth a bit of money, and it's
Yeah.
like it's reverting back to the mean, which is not very much.
You don't get anything back, do you? Because they're apparently they're targeting particularly Bitcoin this year.
Oh no,
Only
well,
if you're
it's
trading it,
people,
though.
It's people that are trading Bitcoin and making capital gains and not
Yes,
declaring them
okay.
because they wrongly think that Bitcoin is like currency,
Mm.
and currency trading. If you're dealing with banknotes and exchange rates or whatever, there is no capital gain. That's not a thing. It's not taxable in the ATO's eyes. But Bitcoin is not really a currency. It's just a capital asset as far as they're concerned. And if you make a capital gain, you need to declare it. And a lot of people don't. But the mistake they make is they've actually bought Bitcoin using Australian registered apps or accounts that are registered back to them, or done transfers to an international Bitcoin seller or trader, and the ATO catches up with them and says, "Oh, hey, we heard you bought a few Bitcoins for not very much and you sold it for a lot. We'll invite you to pay the tax on that, please, or to declare it as income."
Well, I thought I'd give it a try to say that I've got some, but it's only a couple of thousand. But I bought it through an international. I think
Was that a couple of thousand Bitcoin?
Yes, I was going to say.
and it's through a
Gee
card.
whiz.
It's a card called Revolut. Have you heard of it? It's an English credit card. I think it's a debit card. Somebody told me about it, and they said, "Look, if you're going to Europe, you need to have one of these because this is accepted everywhere. So I ordered one and then I realized it wasn't a credit card, it's a debit card. You have to put money into it first.
Yep.
And it's very easy to use because you can do stocks and you can do all sorts of things on it. And because my sister is overseas, I sent her $10 to test it and she got it within seconds. So it is easy. And
that's not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin takes many minutes. Apparently, it's not very fast anymore. So it must be something else.
No. So I had to. Well, I transferred money from my Apple Wallet to Revolut card, and then I used the card to purchase Bitcoin, and because it was the first time and it was a small amount, but they came back and checked me out because I don't know, maybe it's not available in Australia. They were a bit surprised and actually rang me to ask if it was me, the member, and it's originates in the UK.
Yeah, it's from Britain. So tech-based financial. I don't know if this is what Google says. Like a modern bank, but it's all online.
Yes.
And don't forget, Britain is a most countries have a treaty where they do effectively exchange information between various countries about things that might be income producing or money laundering or whatever. So all of those transactions are registered. I mean, obviously, if you've bought some Bitcoin fairly recently, you've already made a slight loss on the value of the Bitcoin. So there are zero tax implications as far as it's not like you've made a lot of money that is on the quiet. If anything, you might have lost.
I don't think you can make much money out of 2,000.
Well, you could. I mined Bitcoin, and the good thing is, I'm quite sure, Pete, and you are not my financial advisor, and nor are you a financial advisor, but I also believe that mining Bitcoin is not actually considered income until you actually dispose of the thing you mined. So I did mine Bitcoin when it was a lot cheaper even than it is now, to the point where I stopped mining it because my power bill went through the roof. Like I had a power bill of $2,000, and I thought, and it was noisy because it's super noisy. But there was a time when my 0.6 of a Bitcoin was worth 50k Aussie, and I thought, wow, that's not bad. And they were talking about Bitcoin being worth possibly well north of $100,000, if not many hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I think
and
I
that sort
bought
of sounded
29 and it's now 32.
Yes, for a whole Bitcoin, that's right. So,
but I've got a point something.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the ATO does consider a capital gain on Bitcoin as its taxable income as a capital gain.
I checked with my accountant, but he said not until you sell it.
That's right. You have to realise.
You have to realise it. Yeah. Which incidentally, Tesla, speaking of realisation, in American tax law or company law, Tesla will have to declare an impairment. They'll have to declare a loss on their $1 billion worth of Bitcoin that they bought, I don't know, 18 months ago or so, or a couple of years ago, as an impairment because they've lost money on. They haven't sold it. They haven't sold their holding. They have to mark it to book value because it's a loss. But if it was a gain, they wouldn't declare it. So they're not obliged to declare a book gain, but they're obliged to declare a book loss, which they will actually do this quarter. And Pete, do you know roughly that it's several $100 million?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so it might be as much as half a, $500 million US impairment.
And what's the theory of declaring a loss?
It's a rule. They are compelled because of that class of asset that they have. If it goes less than a certain threshold, lower than they paid for it, they have to declare it as an impairment, as a they have to write it down basically to that value because it's a loss. But if it had doubled in price or in value, they don't need to declare that because it's not realized, they haven't sold it. But there's some quirk in American financial regulations or company regulations that says that Tesla or any company has to declare a loss.
Perhaps for companies, they want to make sure that they're not being like almost insolvent by making losses, to make sure that potential investors get full disclosure of the risks that they are taking.
Could be their dirty little secret, perhaps.
Dirty little secret box.
Yeah, yeah. So, so that's how it is for Tesla with Bitcoin, and that will affect their well, the bottom line of their balance sheet, but not in any way that actually is important to Tesla. No. But it's important to the people that knock Tesla, or analysts that don't look through the proper results, or want an excuse to knock the price down.
Or clickbait.
Or if they were to borrow money, but I mean, they've got, what, 12 billion in the bank anyway, so yeah. Or it might push out their higher credit rating, their credit upgrade, so.
Which they need to get to, what, BBB minus?
I can't even remember anymore.
To get investment grade, I think it's
one notch off investment grade, and with Standard & Poor's, and yeah, I mean, they should have been there 18 months ago.
Yeah, and that's going to be this. And again, you know, this is not financial advice, but there's going to be an avalanche of irrefutable positive news about Tesla that even the most negative analyst can't ignore the fact that if they're storing an embarrassment of cash and getting a investment grade credit rating and continuing to expand and beat their competitors, in the end, the share price, the what do you call it? The heaviest or strongest gravity won't be able to pull that share price down any longer. It'll just have to.
Because the numbers and the results and the announcements will be enough to shatter the confirmation biases of the people looking at it. And it's those confirmation bias shattering numbers that just, it's like what happened 2 years ago when the stock went, you know, when it was banned 3 or 4 years and then just exploded eightfold or whatever it was. So
yeah, because people may say, oh, well, I've got 12 billion in cash. Yeah, but they've got $500 million in Bitcoin impairment. Well, when that 12 billion becomes 24 billion and becomes 36 billion and then becomes 48 billion, well, what are they going to say? You know, it'll be an Apple-esque kind of situation where they just literally don't know where to put the money, you know. And
it's also Tesla's all about software, right? They're a software company. They're not so much a automotive company.
Well,
like 10 years time.
Everything. I would argue that they are one of the only few, probably the only few proper automotive company actually left. So people say they're not an automotive company, they're a software company. Yes, they are, absolutely. But they're both. Because most of the legacy automotive, they're just assemblers. They're
assemblers. Yep.
They're just component assemblers. Whereas Tesla is fully integrated.
They're vertically integrated all the way, software, hardware, the lot, yeah.
But they go to the nth degree. I mean, they've got a material science R&D lab. You know, they're making their own materials. They've got their own lithium tenement. I mean, you know, they make their own seats. They do all the software themselves. Yes, and they own their own dealers. You know, they own their own chargers. Their own petrol stations. I mean,
it's kind of ironic though, because was it Toyota who they approached many years ago? Well, they tried to approach other people, And they're all like, nah, we're not helping you. We're giving you nothing.
They had a contract with Toyota to
Yeah.
supply drive units for the RAV4 hybrid or whatever it was, FEV, I think it was, and Mercedes as well. I went to the Mercedes Museum at Stuttgart, and
All right.
there was Tesla's. It wasn't labelled Tesla, but it was their drive unit in a version of a Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
That was built in the 2010s, I think it was. But like Pete said, they're the most well. They're probably that they will be the world's most diversified company ever, because they're not just cars. Even though they're an awesome car, even though, as
Yeah.
Pete said, they are the most authentic, true car building company that actually builds the parts or builds the bits that goes into the car. But they're into energy, storage, and we haven't even spoken about the AI, about the what do you call it? The
Artificial
robot thing.
intelligence, the robot thing, yeah. And also, if you add the
Optimus
SpaceX,
Prime.
Optimus Prime, yeah. And SpaceX, yeah, I mean SpaceX is
technically a different company, but it's the same umbrella, really.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but Tesla itself, if you, as a car company, it will be worth several $1 trillion. But as an energy company, it probably deserves to be worth several $1 trillion. And as an AI robot company, it's probably deserves to be worth a dozen $1 trillion. It's just those numbers just become ridiculous and stupid. It's just like Apple. Who would have thought 40 years ago that a fruit company could be worth several $1 trillion?
Yep.
Not IBM.
Not Dell.
Do you think
No.
so? Do you reckon Tesla will bring out a phone?
Geez, I wish you'd asked that. That is an awesome. That'd be great for a talk around the clock, actually, because
I think they will. I mean, especially with not putting Android Auto, Apple CarPlay in their car. I reckon.
You can actually do it now. There's a hack.
Oh yeah, there's a but not a Tesla way. There's a hack.
No. Yeah, you can use a couple of Raspberry Pis or something.
But that hack, and I know we're pressing against time, and we will go very soon. That hack, I think, am I right? That would only work in the States where you are allowed to have the web browser on while you're driving, because it relies on the web browser. Or are they actually hacking into the HDMI feeding into the MCU?
I didn't read it.
Laying
I'm
over
a
like
purist.
an
I'm
intermediate
a
screen
purist.
or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not sure, yeah.
I didn't read.
I
did
just
see
got
it.
to the part where I was looking at the list of components, and it was like the shopping list. There was like 2 Raspberry Pis. Well, I went there.
But I spoke about a HDMI adapter, and I thought, I wonder if they're effectively plugging into your MCU and
Overtaking the video, basically.
Basically, yeah, overlaying the video. But then they'd also have to overlay, because I did hear them on the demo at the website, playing a YouTube song. And even though the image had gone away, the music was still playing through the speakers. So it's an interesting hack, but it's very hacky. And it's what people have to do to get things done. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. Anyway, but there was a point to that, which when I watch this video back, I go, "Duh, you had a point and you forgot."
That was a phone. I said they're going to make a
Oh, the
phone.
phone. Oh, yes, so the phone. So, it all gets down to, can the Starlink satellites communicate effectively? I haven't got a phone in front of me because my phone's downstairs.
It's
But
going to be
something the size of your
revolutionary.
hand. Can you put an antenna array that's plugged to your ear that can communicate with satellites out there, even if it's at 1 megabit per second or 500 kilobits per second, as a phone, as a global coverage phone with a little bit of internet? And I guess perhaps the answer to that is
eventually
you probably can, because in the old days of GPS, the original GPS receivers took at least half an hour to get an accurate location. and sometimes longer to get a even better location. And now you fly on a plane and you just whip out your map and it'll tell you what speed your plane's doing. And that's in a Faraday shield, and all it's getting is weak communications through the windows, which are small. And, GPS indoors was unheard of, and now it works almost perfectly. So technically it probably can be done.
Well, there's satellite phones already, Harold. So how's...
Sorry, say again, Pete?
Well, there's like the Iridium network, the satellite phones already. I mean, technologically speaking, from a first principles point of view, there is no technological hurdle that would prevent you from doing it. I mean, there may be it may cost a lot of money, it may not be practical, might be too slow if there's too many people in one area and all the rest of it. But from a technological point of view, what would prevent you from
that's then to say that Tesla would take on the smartphone makers. Although, would they need to, or would they just license it?
They wouldn't license it. They wouldn't license it. But technology changes so quickly. Like, look at what we've gone from 2G to 5G in such a shorter period of time.
Apple, for example, doesn't even make their own screens. They get them from Samsung.
No, Samsung. Yeah, they're a software company as well.
Yeah, does Tesla want to do that absolute mass production?
The new Tesla cameras are Samsung, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yep.
Yes.
So yeah,
that was a big deal too.
Maybe you're right.
Do they just farm it out to Samsung? In fact, Samsung, I think they're doing the hardware 3 chips as well. I think that was announced some months ago.
I guess they got the Ryzen chipset as well, so they didn't make their own chip. It's possible.
I keep calling BS on it, thinking, everyone wants a Tesla phone. They call it a Pi phone, don't they? For some reason, Tesla's Pi phone, as in PI, like as 3.14, etc., etc. Well, I don't know. What do you reckon, Pete? Do you reckon there's going to be a Tesla phone?
Eventually.
Why wouldn't it be a SpaceX phone?
No, it'll be a Tesla phone because SpaceX isn't, because, you'll already have your Tesla car. From a branding point of view, it makes sense for it to be a Tesla phone,
Yeah, mass market. Most people would know Tesla.
What would it be called?
Well, I thought it's been called a Pi phone. If you do a Google search on Pi phone, they talk about Tesla. That's
really?
Yeah, PI. Like if you we can do it live. If you just look up, this could be bad, but if you just go Google and you just go iPhone Tesla.
Release date.
And Tesla Pi smartphone phone price,
Darling.
as if.
Yeah.
And this is geek, it just goes on and on. Tesla, and the problem is, and they'll have a Tesla logo, and I'm not going to even bother clicking. I'm not a robot. Maybe I will. That's just probably just stored a cookie somewhere. But it's the Model Pi, the no ordinary phone. It's just puffery, really. But maybe it'll happen. And yeah, I think we could almost do it, talk around the clock discussing it. I mean, look, SpaceX's newest version of their Starlink terminal is getting smaller. It's rectangular and it's less than half the weight and less footprint than the previous round dish. So
you said it was phased array too, didn't you?
Oh, it's all phased array. Yes, yeah. Well, both versions are phased arrays, but
okay.
I think SpaceX has wisely done it in a rectangle. You don't need it. It doesn't need to be round. That it's not about the
parabolic reception type stuff, which is reasonable.
No, that's right. It's got nothing to do with the shape. It's got to do with the number of antenna elements that you phase in the array. It doesn't. It could be a long linear thing. It could be any shape, really. It doesn't have to be round or anything. And making it rectangular is much better for a printed circuit board and all that sort of stuff. But
and it fits in the trunk well. in the boot well.
So when's
And
yours
it's
arriving? When's yours arriving, Pete?
I haven't actually ordered it. I started ordering it.
Oh, don't bother,
Yeah,
because mine's arriving on the, I think it's the
yeah.
12th of July.
It,
12th,
yeah, it's
12th of
only
July.
like it's only 3-4 week wait or something, so it's not
Yeah.
too bad. Yeah. No, I started ordering and then I got distracted and never went back. And I remembered today I was speaking to someone on the phone, and yeah. No,
That's
I'll
cool.
do it.
That'll be something else that will
I've
be
got the-
available for TOCWA members to borrow. Although this one will be at a fee because it's just a matter of cost recovery, really, taking it on a road trip.
Well, but also there's a fee for the plan. It's
Well, that's what I mean. Like
$160.
look, it costs $100 and I can't remember, $60, $70 a
Something
month.
like that. Yeah.
So, you know, as generous as TOCWA is, it's not going to rent out, or not going to lend out something that's literally costing money just to sit there for someone to use.
Because
But,
you'll get into situations where someone will forget to return it, and then there's like no incentive to, you know, return it back within a week or what have you. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there you go. This is probably a good note. It is past Pete's beauty sleep time. Not that he needs it, but I certainly do.
I'm practicing for European time.
Yes, well, I'm
I
just
don't go to
thinking.
bed till 1 a.m. minimum.
Well, that's right, and I probably won't be either because I'll be uploading for the next hour and stuff. But it's all good. I'll sleep in tomorrow. And of course, when I'm in Europe at the end of the year for Christmas, when it'll be pitch black dark, it'll be great for me because it'll only be mid-afternoon by the time you guys are all sleepy and tired, and I'll be up trying to get you pumping. But anyway, Pete, how would you round out this show in the traditional way?
as always, stay safe, stay sustainable, stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. On that note, take care, everyone. Look after yourselves. Look forward to seeing you at the casual meetup next week. Apologies, there's no ask us anything.
Okay,
But-
what day is it? On Wednesday night, is it?
Next Wednesday night.
The Queen's in Beaufort Street?
The Mighty Quinn. I'll be sending out an email tomorrow.
I can
promise.
make that one. Yep.
And awesome. So look after yourselves. Chris, look after yourself in balmy Broome.
Thank you.
That Indian summer that you've got, or winter, whatever, it's awesome. In the dry, which is great. And look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
Thank
and
you.
yeah, on that note, take care, everyone. Look after
Good
yourselves.
night.
See you
Good night.
next time.
Great, thanks.
guys.
Bye.
Peace.
See ya.